Last time on... Echo can be an emotionally intense experience and may not be for everyone. Please put your mental well-being first and take this into consideration before downloading. There it is. The look of pure shock and horror on TJ's face stuns me. My paw still stuck out in the air as I watched the lynx disappear through the trees.
I feel bad. Yeah, because I'm seeing something that's like either an extreme injustice in the world.
Is it the first time we've actually gotten to look at the bathroom? I think so. Also, what the fuck? That painting looks like the exact picture that's framed up on my wall next to me. That's the creepiest thing I've seen in this game so far. What? Yeah, exactly. As if the picture wasn't descriptive enough, words and arrows label the characters. Toby sitting on the beach, Sydney dead in the water, and Chase holding him down. And that's when I grab the lizard under his armpits and start to pull us both out further. Chase! I hate you, Chase! You dummy! You idiot! I don't like that I'm a murderer, and no, stop saying I, please! Oh my god. Devil Lemons for soda? I don't like you. I don't like you, man. Now, back to the video. Hi, welcome back to Echo. Now, I know that recap was probably a lot, because I had to condense 3 hours of footage, but I also have a lot of notes for this intro. But you know, that's what chapters are for, so you can skip ahead if you just want to get straight to the game. But anyway, if you've watched my Adastra playthrough and this Echo one up until this point, you may have noticed I don't react as strongly as you might expect me to react to some of the twists and climaxes of these stories, especially with how much I liked both of them. And I think the reason for that is that they just give you a lot to think about, so it takes a while for certain things to really sink in for me. For instance, I didn't even think about the implications of TJ's role in the murders of Sydney and Flynn. It had to have given a complicated kind of guilt, just sitting there while his best friend was drowning someone who, while they had been very violent towards TJ, had also long been a part of their friend group. Like, he not only felt guilty about being complicit in a murder, but also about the relief it gave him in a way. At the same time, he seems grateful toward Chase, not talking about what happened in the forest, and then acting like everything is normal, like he doesn't want Chase to feel bad about the way he stood up for him, even though it obviously wasn't the best way to do so. It also explains why TJ always wants to be such a good Samaritan, like when he said it makes him feel better about a lot of things. And why he was so eager to do the treasure hunt. All that is how he can try to make up for being complicit in Sydney's death. Or in some way, the cause of it, even. That, in turn, explains why he got so mad at Carl when he found out the treasure hunt wasn't Sydney's doing. TJ thought he had found one last way to pay his debt to Sydney, but instead all that effort had gone to waste. And that makes the ending to his route so much worse, knowing that all the guilt that I had unknowingly seen from TJ throughout the game would be doubled afterwards. That being said, I still don't really understand Flynn's reaction to the piece of paper Chase showed him. Based on the, you think you could just play with me like this? Flynn seemed to think Chase was trying to prank him in some way, but like, obviously Chase wouldn't have shown it to him if he had known it wasn't drawn by him, so why beat Chase up? The prank wouldn't have been his doing, or it would have been an extremely stupid and staggeringly well-executed prank. Everything else Flynn does seems to imply he actually believes Chase murdered Sydney, but that one line just throws a weird wrench in that. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, and Flynn was referring to Chase making the whole reveal so confusing or something. I don't know. Still feels odd. And then, the details of Sydney's murder were really confusing to me at first, but after a bit of piecing things together, I think, judging from what Chase told Julian, what happened when he murdered Flynn, and that one dream Chase had, which I thought was just another event that led up to Sydney's death, but now I'm pretty sure it actually was just Sydney's death scene, that it happened something like this. Everyone goes to skip rocks while TJ stays behind to build sandcastles. Sydney goes back to where TJ is, and Chase gets tired of skipping rocks and swims over to the same place, only to see Sydney seemingly trying to kill TJ. Chase knocks Sydney off of TJ runs off, Chase and Sydney argue, Chase throws a punch and keeps Sydney's head underwater for about 10 seconds, and Sydney tries to get away to tell everyone that Chase was trying to kill him, which prompts Chase to actually drown him. Before he's able to, TJ comes back to see Chase pulling Sydney deeper into the water. After drowning Sydney, Chase resurfaces and talks to TJ in order to reassure him and plan out how they can get away with what they've done, and then swims back to where everyone else is. No one realizes Chase has gone anywhere. TJ screams to get everyone's attention once he knows for sure that Chase has had enough time to get back to the others. Everyone else rushes back, Chase takes Cindy's body to the beach, and they all find out he's dead. And that's it. Some of the details here are still a bit unclear and might be wrong, since Chase seems to have blocked parts of it out of his memory, but that's my theory at least. And about the treasure hunt, I'm now pretty certain it was all done by Leo, and I think you probably are just meant to figure that out as the reader, since it wouldn't be given a huge reveal at any point. I'm guessing Leo's obsession with Chase led him to realize it could have been Chase who killed Sydney, and that's why he comes over to apologize once the week is ending, since he thinks he might be wrong about it and regrets making the treasure hunt. Either that, or Chase told him how it happened at some point in the relationship, and Leo just regrets revealing it. But to me, that seems less likely, considering how kind of dismissive Leo is about it. Like, he really wasn't sure that it happened that way. There's still even more I could talk about regarding that last route, but to condense my thoughts on it, Chase is really bad at solving disputes. Also, I think this game's on track for a 10 out of 10 so far. I'll have to see how the rest of the routes play out, but TJ's one, at least, was amazing. Yeah, I get the love for this game. But anyway, let's start a new game, actually, because I guess I'll try leaving on Carl, because I want to go for Carl's route this time. So it's maybe a little less traumatizing. Under wheels. Right, lean on Carl. Tell the truth. And sit with Carl. I'm tired and I feel awful. I just don't have it in me to chase everyone down right now. Flynn's back off to Echo, and it looks like Leo went after TJ, but I can't imagine the Lynx wants all of us crowding around him right now. I sigh, rubbing my face, before I sit down in the lawn chair next to Carl. He looks over at me, slowly lowering what's definitely a joint from his mouth. What? I don't mind. I make a go on gesture with my paw. Carl shakes his head, though, pushing the disheveled tube back into his front pocket. Nah, I always kind of feel like a dick when the other guy isn't into it. Want me to leave? He shakes his head with a quick flick of his horns. No, man. I just do it when there's nothing else to do. Ah. There's a moment of silence, and I feel a little pressure to break it since I'm the one who interrupted his bake session. I actually tried it a few years ago. Carl looks surprised. Oh, really? How was it? I shrug. Pretty bad. Was in a muffin, I think. Carl makes a face at that. Edibles. Yeah, well, I ended up eating one. Didn't feel anything for a while. Next thing I know, I'm face down on the floor and everyone's freaking out. Shit, that sucks. It was kind of funny, but I don't think I'll ever try it again. Carl pulls the joint back out of his pocket and holds it up. That's why you should use one of these. It's easier on the brain. Yeah, well, I guess I just don't like the idea of putting smoke in my lungs. Carl puts the joint back in his pocket. I get that. Again, there's a few seconds of silence, and I try to think of something to say, but Carl beats me to it. Crazy shit, huh? I assume he's talking about what just happened. Yeah, crazy. But you know how he is. He's regretting everything right now. Well, I guess I'd rather he just wouldn't say it in the first place. Oh, I'm just realizing. Annoying mouse clicks, because I'm not using the controller. Oh, also, I have cookies and milk this time, again. They're back! My secret weapons for reading this, apparently. I mean, after looking at the past recording sessions, I don't think they actually make it easier, but it feels like they do, in the moment. Anyway. What he said to TJ, man, he picks on him a lot, but that was crossing the line. Carl scratches behind one of his horns, then rubs his nose. Well, yeah, I guess I never understood that either. Making fun of TJ is like making fun of a cloud. But Flynn doesn't mean it, usually. He likes TJ. I've noticed during the trip that Carl's been pretty defensive of Flynn, even though he's the butt of most of the lizard's jokes. I'd seen Flynn trip Carl up and put him in several headlocks since I got here. You'd think getting older would change that, but I swear they roughhouse even more than they did before. So you and him still seem pretty close. You guys hang out a lot? Yeah, a bit. Mostly because there isn't much else to do. He's got a friend in Peyton that he hangs out with sometimes too. So what do you guys do? I know Flynn isn't into video games at all, and Carl probably doesn't care to go clubbing every other night. He shrugs. Sometimes we go fishing, maybe just drive around Peyton. Mostly I'm just hanging out at home though. Playing video games. Playing video games, watching movies, cybering with a chatbot. The usual. I grin. That's sad. I would have cybered with you if I'd known you didn't have anyone. I don't know, man. That thing compiles all the fetishes of the people it's talked to. It's gotten my sexuality all kinds of fucked up. Oh yeah? Yeah, seems like no matter what I say to her, she's tied up into a warehouse, blindfolded with a few missing limbs. You underestimate my abilities. Oh, and a gender swap that comes out of nowhere halfway through. Well, you're not sexing up a robot. Are you doing anything else? He chuckles. I can't exactly get around myself anymore. So I guess your parents decided against getting you a new car? Yeah. Oh, look at this. He leans over and pulls out his phone. I can't help but notice it's a top model brand, probably around $700. But he's not showing me the phone. Instead, he presses at the screen a few times and swipes through them. Some pictures. Okay, maybe this time the milk and cookies are actually making it worse. I swear I see an image of Flynn with his pants down mooning the camera. Carl swipes over it pretty quick, though, and now I'm looking at the image of a brand new sedan. Except the front is neatly folded up around the pole of a stop sign. I recognize the sign. I'd actually seen it right outside the convenience store, still bent at a ridiculous angle. Guess the town didn't care enough to get it fixed. The pole itself is almost embedded into the middle of the hood. Holy shit. Carl chuckles and pinches the screen, zooming in. Yeah, I dropped my phone, and when I came back up, this freaking pole was right in front of me. Really, Carl? Why were you on your phone? I don't know. When I get to the town, I don't really think anyone's gonna be on the road. I think. Then notice... I sigh. Then notice a big round spot on the right side of the windshield. Spider-webbed and smashed white. Whoa, is that... Yep. Carl knocks on his head for effect. The hollow sound that it emits seeming rather appropriate. You rely on that too much. And you really need to start wearing your seatbelt. He shrugs and puts the phone back in his pocket, before leaning back in the chair and closing his eyes. What's the point? To not die? Happens to everyone sooner or later. Why not get out early if you can? He keeps his voice light under the heavy statement. I have no idea what to say to that, so I don't, but he breaks the silence again soon enough. So, how's PU? You see Chelsea at all? Sometimes I forget Carl went to Pueblo with me. It was only one semester, but we had a lot of fun. It's alright. Haven't seen Chelsea at all, though. It is a big school. Anyway, what's that project thing you're doing? Just a news packet about Echo, really. Kinda about how it's falling apart. Huh. I've told him this already, but Carl never remembers much. Might center it on the whole body and the mind thing that happened way back. Carl opens his eyes and looks at me. So, do you need, like, history stuff? Like old books and records and stuff? Yeah, if it relates. Carl sits up straighter and grins. Well, why didn't you say so? We've got a ton of stuff in this Crawlspace from way back when. Yeah? What kind of stuff? Carl sits a hoof against one of the rocks circling the fire pit and starts rocking his chair back. A treasure hunt? Well, whatever my family kept over the years. That one guy, Carl snaps his fingers a few times. You know, the guy founded this place, James? Yeah, sure. He's like my great-great-great-grandfather or something. I think we still have some of that stuff from back in the day. My parents were thinking about setting up an Echo museum thing, but they never did. This might actually be useful to me. All I had planned was to maybe look over some old newspapers or town records and be done with it. Actually, seeing some old stuff up close could be pretty cool. That might be a good idea, actually. Carl grins. Awesome. I always kind of wanted to look through that stuff, but the Crawlspace is damn creepy. You free tonight? For the first time, Carl actually looks really excited. Oh wait, never mind. Lynn's taking me to a dentist appointment early in the morning. How about around 11 tomorrow? I smile. Sounds like a plan. Sweet. Whoa! Carl gives an excited kick off the rock, and as the chair's tipping back, the back legs practically snap under his weight. He's sent slamming down on his rear, the chair a crumpled mess under his ass. I laugh, and of course I feel bad, but Carl just gets up with a sheepish smile, looking down at the broken pile. Well, Leo's gonna be pissed. Probably not more than he is at Flynn, though. I'm driving down the road alongside the lake, with creepypasta music playing in the background. Carl's sitting next to me. He's in the chair that he broke. I keep telling him to wear his seatbelt, but he won't. I turn down a road I don't remember. Go straight down towards the lake. For some reason, I can't stop. I brace myself for the impact, but I hardly feel anything. We just glide into the lake. I start trying to take off the seatbelt, but it's stuck. I look over at Carl, and he smiles before opening his door. Water rushes in, and he starts to step out. Soon the water is over my head, and it doesn't matter that I'm an otter. Okay. Well then. Tuesday. Tree! Oh, the branch fallen off of it. Turns out it was a good idea to hang out with Carl today. After texting back and forth with Leo, I learned that he's actually planning a birthday party for the Ram. It's a little weird since Carl's birthday isn't for another month, but I guess it's just an excuse to have a party. So wait, now that we're with Carl, what's gonna happen with the treasure hunt thing? Are we gonna find it, or no? I mean, I'm assuming that's just a thing with TJ's route. Like, even if we find it, we're probably not gonna go on it, because that's kind of TJ's idea. So I guess that makes sense, but maybe we'll get to see what made Carl go down to the Crawlspace. Well, actually, we know already what's gonna make him go down this route, but so yeah, maybe that's not a possibility. Leo tells me to keep Carl distracted for the day while they go shopping for decorations and gifts. He also tells me he'll get my gift for Carl, which is fine with me. TJ's pretty bummed though, considering it throws off his hiking plans, but Jenna promises him they'll at least hike half the trail. I want to talk to him, but he's acting pretty cold towards me, probably because I'm bailing on my promise to go with him. I drive to Carl's house, because it's pretty far separated from the rest of Echo, up against the foothills of the Casa Demonio mountain range. It'd probably take me 15 minutes to get up there, and there's no way in hell I'm doing that, in this heat, uphill, when I've got a car. The main reason it's separated like this is because Carl's house is a mansion. Carl's family is loaded, a legacy that's followed them ever since Carl's great-whatever struck it rich over 100 years ago. James Hendricks eventually went on to start an ice cream business, which at this point has spread out over most of the western half of the country. Carl's mom is the CEO, I think. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably get some shots of the mansion, considering its role in the town's history. Most of the old mansion has been demolished at this point, but I think parts of it are still from the original structure. Probably best to ask first, though. Yeah. So you're not just photographing some random stuff that has nothing to do with what you're doing, except being in the same house as what you're trying to photograph. I mean, I guess it's still the same house, but, you know, just ship it easiest kind of thing. I walk up to the front door and ring the doorbell, listening to the fancy chime inside. I wait for about a minute, starting to wonder if Carl is asleep or just high off his ass, when I hear some voices from behind the house. I am definitely recognizing the crackly timber. Tomra. Is Tom? I feel like I've heard people pronounce that as just like Tom. It's just like the R is silent, but I would assume it's Tomra. Oh right, some people, it's also timber. I forgot about that one. Timber. That sounds like a different word, though. That sounds like you've switched the E and R around. I'll go with timbre. I'm definitely recognizing the crackly timbre of Carl's voice, along with the high tenor of Flynn's. High tenor? Shit. Well, whatever. I've done that voice up until this point, and I like it, so I'll just push the canon voice away. I head around the house, stepping carefully through the desert landscaping and walking into the backyard. Because you want to make out with him? No, because you like to make things weird. I just wanted to be relaxed. That's when Carl notices me as I round the corner, clutching my camera back to my side. What were you guys talking about? He's leaning over a bush with a giant set of clippers, while Flynn lounges up against the wall, watching him. Whoa, Chase! Carl's ears perk and he grins. Sorry, Flynn. Carl rolls his big head at the lizard. I'm supposed to be watching for you. Flynn doesn't look at me right away, instead of choosing to pull the toothpick he's chewing on out of his muzzle to look at it. He's still embarrassed about yesterday. Look at his face. Oh. Good. That's alright. Wasn't hard to hear you guys from the front. Yeah, just doing some yard work, obviously. He rubs behind his head. Promised my parents I'd get this done before they got back. Carl starts snipping at the bush again. He's unusually sharp right now. I'm guessing because he hasn't had anything to smoke. Either way, it's jarring to see him so animated. Well, looks like you're doing a good job. Oh, he's only moving this fast because he wants to hang out with you, Chase. Even though the sentence is technically being said to me, I feel like Flynn's directing it at Carl. Carl furrows his brow. Chase, you can go inside if you want. The back is open. I think that's a good idea, because it's clear now that I've walked in on an argument. You should have seen him a few minutes ago. It was like he had a girlfriend coming over. Carl sighs loudly, and his snip starts to get a bit more violent. No, I'm just glad to have some company that isn't only you, Flynn. Flynn looks annoyed, and that annoys me. You really didn't have the right to be frustrated with anyone after yesterday. Really? Always seemed to be enough for you in the past. Flynn makes a kissy face. I have no idea if this is one of their inside jokes or not. I don't think it is. Considering there's a side story called Benefits that's about Flynn and Carl, I don't think it's a joke. Carl stops snipping for a second, then starts up again, more slowly. Well, you know, lizards can be fun, but they don't have all the parts that I like, if you know what I mean. I don't, actually. Carl smirks sideways at Flynn. Flynn sneers back, and though I've decided that they're still joking, there's definitely a growing tension between them. I'm still trying to think of what parts a lizard wouldn't have. I don't know. What you saying there, Carl? Carl stops snipping and plants the point of the clipper in the ground, leaning on it as he turns to face Flynn. What I'm saying is, you got no baps? I don't have it either. Balls. I think that's it, because they have, like, yeah. Before Carl can finish his sentence, Flynn turns to the right, away from him. This also brings his fat tail around to slam into Carl's crotch with a whack that makes me cringe. Carl jumps, then squeaks before toppling to the ground. Oh man, my nuts! Yeah, definitely wish I had those. All dangly and vulnerable and shit. Anyway, I'll leave you two sluts alone. Flynn sticks the toothpick back into his muzzle, and I have to consciously try not to cover my crotch while he walks by me. He hasn't looked at me this whole time. Once Flynn's gone, I sidle up to Carl, who's still curled up on the ground, holding himself while he mutters under his breath. You alright? Fuck, no. There's not really anything I can do. So I rub his shoulder with a toe, comfortingly, and he freezes up as I do, looking at my foot. I'm alright though. He gets himself into a sitting position before he gets up awkwardly, standing bow-legged. I forgot how much Flynn likes to hit people in the nuts. I'll get him back. It still hurts him if you hit hard enough. As he stands there, doubled over with his paws on his knees, I look around. Carl's house has actual grass in the back, which is rare in Nico. Most people either xeriscape or just let the sagebrush take over. No idea what xeriscaping is, but I guess I can assume. I'm still gonna look it up though. I put in xeriscap and it auto-completed with xeriscaping meaning. And it's cultivate an area as a xeriscape. Thanks, helps me so much. Okay, a garden or landscape created in a style that requires little or no irrigation or other maintenance used in arid regions. Okay. Another rarity are the two tall trees on either side of the yard. That's when I notice how empty one of them looks. Hey, where'd the treehouse go? Carl follows my gaze. Oh yeah, my dad took it down a few years ago. It was falling apart. His dad also built the treehouse. I can remember hanging out up there, playing on our portable game consoles with a fan at full blast. Even then, it was still almost too hot to hang out up there. I walk up to the base of the tree and put my hand against the trunk, grinning. Man, remember all the shit we did up there? Carl shuffles up next to me, still bow-legged, and grins too. Yeah, good times. I think about climbing it, but I notice that the branch we used to use as a foothold has been cut off. Your dad ruined this thing. Carl scraped at the spot where the branch used to be with a hoof. Yeah, I guess it made the mowing harder, and we didn't use it anymore, so he just cut it off. I can see Carl looking for a way up too, and soon enough his eyes settle on a branch just above his head. I don't know if... Carl's already jumping to grab onto the branch with both paws. It doesn't look very sturdy. Dude, that's gonna break. So, I'm fucking fat, I'll bounce. I'm about to tell him again that the branch is definitely going to break when I notice his shirt running up all the way over his round belly. I like Chase's expression here. Yeah, he's a murderer though, I'm not gonna get hung up on it. It's not like he's a bag of lard though. It's a control type of gut, held tight with the muscles underneath, pulling it in as he flexes. Okay, he notices me staring right away and kicks out at me playfully. Pervert, first my moves and now this. I jump back and he tries to follow me with a bigger swing of his legs, and that's when the branch snaps loudly. Carl goes down again, landing squarely on his back. Yeah, he didn't bounce. Which should be a surprise to me, I guess, since I was just talking or thinking about how sturdy looking he is. I should really stop that habit of saying I instead of Chase, but I can't figure out how. Sorry, can't scream. I have to get the cookie out of my mouth and into my belly. Well, it's not a scream, but it's like a... yeah. Ugh! I cover my face instinctively, but I still hear the hollow thud, followed by the whoosh of breath going out of his lungs. Slowly, I lower my paws and find the chubby ram rolling back and forth on the ground, eyes wide as his mouth hangs open. A distant memory comes to mind of a time when we were both 10, and Carl was showing me a trick with his new bike ramp. The handlebars ended up in his gut when he landed, and he spent the following minute rolling around on the ground just like this. Good times. Shit. I suck in air through my teeth and kneel next to him again, patting him uselessly. After a few seconds of hesitation, I reach over and grab the front of the waistband of his shorts and pull up on it. Even though he's completely deflated, he looks at me with a bizarre expression and swats at my paw, giving a few breathless snorts as he tries to laugh. Hey, it's supposed to help you breathe. I've seen the coaches do it at school. I'm realizing that Carl's way too heavy to arch up like that, so I give up and end up just petting his stomach, wishing I could help somehow. Just stretched out. His breath is already coming back, but he follows my instruction anyway, and we sit there for a while, the silence punctuated by his heavy breathing. I start laughing. Jesus Christ, Carl. Can you go one day without hurting yourself? He chuckles too, his belly shaking under my paw. Now you know why I don't go outside. Ugh. He slumps back for a while, taking in deep breaths before lifting his head again. He looks down his chest to my paw and grins. Seems like you can't keep your paws off me, though. I move my paw, letting him pull down his shirt as he grunts and sits up. How about I just let you suffocate next time? I almost did, laughing while I couldn't breathe. I thought you were trying to grab my dick. I put my paws on my hips. Is it because I'm gay? That might just be it. Carl grabs the branch that had broken off the tree and quirks up the corner of his mouth. Ugh, Dad's not gonna be happy about that. Who cares? It's just a branch. You know my dad. He gets up and tosses the branch over the fence into the desert, then turns back to me. So, now that it feels like Lucha fucking Lobo just gave me the Quabradora Kong. I'm gonna try that one again. So, now that it feels like Lucha fucking Lobo just gave me the Quabradora Conjiro, I think I'm done for the day. Wanna work on your project now? I'd honestly rather just hang out here with Carl, but the sun's enough to put a dapper on that. Carl's house is like a labyrinth. I think he once told me that it has over 30 rooms, which is fucking insane. The living room is about 5 times larger than the one in my parents' house, and it's hard to miss what looks like a 100-inch flat screen against the wall. According to Carl, the first mansion was even bigger though. After getting a drink, he leads me straight downstairs into the basement. Down the hallway, we pass a small home theater, what looks like an entertainment room with a bar, and then a small gym. The quick glance I get shows at least 10 fitness contraptions. Hey, maybe Carl's been using those. And good on him. After that, things get a little more dingy, and I can see how portions of the foundation could be decades old. Finally, at the end of the hall, Carl opens the door, and I can see from the ceiling that it's right under the stairs we came down on. Carl waves his paw around and finally grasps something before pulling down. An old light bulb comes on, and I see there's a little door with a small latch on it. He opens it, and I'm greeted with a musty smell as Carl slides through the opening. I follow tentatively, making sure I'm not walking into any cobwebs. Are there a lot of spiders down here? I don't think so. We sprayed a few weeks ago. It's extremely dark, and I hear Carl grunting next to me. Ugh, there's a floodlight here somewhere. Ah, here it is. Like everything in this house, it's big for a crawl space. Pillars sprout from the ground in 2 rows that stretch back almost into darkness. The ground is covered in a tarp, and I see dozens of plastic bins lining the walls. Okay, makes sense we didn't find them down here. This place was difficult to get to. This is a lot of shit. Yep, it's a few generations worth of shit. I walk over the tarp to look into one of the bins, but all I can see is clumps of cloth and towel through the cloudy plastic. Carl walks past me, straight towards the back of the crawl space, his big hooves clapping along loudly. I actually helped him sort through all the stuff last year, so I think I know where it is. I follow him, but it's hard to see in the darkness. Should we get a flashlight? Nah, it's only in 2 tubs, I think. We'll just pull him to the front. I stand off to the side as I watch him push bins around, looking at the labels on top. I look over at one of them and see Home Movies written on it, and it's filled with cassettes. Ah, don't remind me. I look up and see that Carl's noticed me staring at the bin. What? Carl grunts as he lifts up a bin and drops it pretty carelessly to the floor. I'm pretty sure I hear something break. You don't want me to see you being a cute little kid? Mom had me help her convert all that to digital. Took all fucking year. Oh. Wow. Yeah, it's in the cloud now. You're actually in a lot of those videos. Oh, really? Yeah, birthday parties and shit. Of course I would be. Carl's dad practically had a video camera glued to his eye back in the day. I used to hang out with Carl almost as much as I did Leo once we started going out. I even went on their family vacation a few times. But then me going out with Leo changed things. Looking back, I think Carl was kind of unhappy with that. We can watch a few once we're done here if you want. Sure. That sounds like an old person thing to do. But I am curious. Is it an old person thing to do to watch home videos? Because I like doing that. Oh. Found it. Carl slides out 2 plastic bins, and I see history written on the top. Help me carry one. Carl lifts up the top one and starts waddling back to the front. I bend over and lift the second, and I'm surprised at how fucking heavy it is. I'm worried I'm not even gonna get it off the ground for a few seconds, but I manage after a while. If Carl's bin is heavy as mine, then he's a fucking beast at being able to lift and carry it like that. I stagger after him, almost certain that I'm gonna go headfirst into the wall. Once we make it back near the stairs, I bend over to set down my bin, and that's when I see a massive spider sitting on the lid. Oh! Spiders! Again, yay. Spider! It takes about half a second for me to recognize the black shape and spindly legs. Oh fuck! I scream and drop the bin, and before I know it, I'm halfway back from where we came, panting and shivering. Holy shit, what happened? I tremble and try to steady my voice. A fucking spider! What? You're really still scared of those? Man, for a second I thought my sister came home, and then got murdered. You told me there weren't any! I didn't say that. I just said we swayed. Just get rid of it! At this point, I've shuffled a little closer back to the light, and I can see Carl grinning as he bends over to look at the lid of the bin. Oh, it's got babies on its back! My body gives a violent, involuntary spasm, and I shake my paws like a fucking girl. Stop it! He glances up at me, with that stupid smile still on his face. Wow, that was gay. But seriously, it's got a bunch of tiny babies on its back. I think it's a wolf spider. I swear I'm gonna pass the hell out if he doesn't stop talking. I cover my face. Please! Alright. I didn't know you were that scared of them. You should probably get that checked out. Considering that I'd almost crashed my car into the garage of my parents' house when a spider crawled out of the AC, he was probably right. Just kill it. Why would I do that? I watch as he tilts the bin sideways. It's not gonna hurt anyone. I want to tell him that those babies are only going to grow into 100 more giant wolf spiders. But I realize I'll just come off as a bloodthirsty asshole, so I bite my lip as I watch the black spots skitter off into the darkness. I walk back towards Carl, hugging my shoulders as I try to control the chills running through me. Now I'm gonna be paranoid the whole time that it's gonna come back out to get me. Right. I'm not really scared of spiders, but I did once see like a huge spider on the wall here, next to me. Just skidding up towards the ceiling, and I got like really scared that it was gonna just like drop off of the ceiling and into like my glass or something. Or I would like look up and it would like drop down into my nose. Carl rubs my back when I stand next to him. You know, they actually clean up a lot of other bugs that get into the house. Yeah, well, I'd rather be covered in ants than spiders. Really? It's clear he's trying not to laugh at me as he starts popping the lid off his bin. On the top are a few framed pictures, and under those are a few more cardboard boxes. I release the latches on the other bin, keeping my eye out for any black spots that might jump out at me. This one is filled with bundles wrapped in cloth or paper. Carl drags his bin to the steps so that he can sit on them, and I follow suit. So, how do you think you'll use this stuff? I unwrap a smaller bundle and look at the gold pocket watch underneath. Wow. Well, not totally sure. Depends on what we find. Might film a few things. There's a paper tag attached to the chain with Robert Hendricks written on it. Who's this? Carl gives it a glance. No idea. Probably a great uncle or something. I wrap the pocket watch and reach back into the bin to pull out the next item. There's something really cool about old stuff. My mind wanders to who might have made it, who bought it, and how much shit it must have been. History was my first choice to major in, but Dad put a stop to that pretty quick. Wait, why? Oh, I guess because it doesn't really lead to a career. I mean, I think it definitely helps with some careers at least. Like a historian, history teacher, politician, I pull out various other things. Dolls, a pipe, coins, and another pocket watch. I feel like this is worth a lot of money. Why don't they sell it? Probably, but it's family stuff, and I still think they want to do the museum. He gives an awkward cough. Besides, we already got plenty of money. He's got the binder open, looking at black and white photos behind the plastic. Hey, this is him, right? He points at a picture of a very dignified-looking ram, thumbs in his vest, wearing one of those big top hats. A fox stands next to him in a similar pose. Oh. I mean, that's not much to go off of, but if they mention Kid Fox, I might know who this is. Or I might know where else Chase has seen the guy. And can see a piece of yellowed paper set behind the photo and tug it out. James Hendricks. Yep, definitely him. And John B. Gay. Huh. Oh, that's Jenna's last name. Carl's phone starts buzzing, and he grunts as he leans back to pull it out of his pocket. Hey, Mom. Helping Chase with his project. No, of course not. I look over at him, but he gets up and clops back up the steps. Looking back down at the picture, I wonder if it's just coincidence, but I don't think so. Jenna's family has been an echo since the beginning, too, so this guy definitely has to be a relative of some kind. I take a picture of the photograph with my phone. I'll show it to Jenna later and ask if she knows anything about it. To do that without a car? Carl raises his voice, so I look back up the steps, wondering if I should close the door. Hearing him angry like that didn't feel right. His parents were always hard on him, but I guess they had their reasons. I spend the next 20 minutes shuffling through the bins, trying to be careful not to break anything. I decide I have enough, and put the lids back on the bins, lighting the stuff I picked out along one of the steps since I don't have anywhere else to put them. By the time I head back up into the actual basement, Carl's gone. As I approach Carl's room, I smell it before I even open the door. He's reclined on his bed, an arm thrown over his face, the big window above him open. Clothes are scattered all over the floor, along with a few empty water bottles and bowls. Every inch of the walls are covered in posters like I remember, along with a few on the ceiling. Bookcases line the opposite wall, filled to the brim with comics and toys. He raises up his arm as I walk in, and smiles. Sorry about the mess, dude. It's hard to keep everything clean when my parents aren't here to yell at me about it. The lazy, crackly sound in his voice has returned full force. His eyes are distant. It's okay. Are you okay? He grins toothily. Dude, I'm more than okay. Since there's nowhere else to sit, I end up sitting down on the foot of his bed. Do they let you smoke in here? The smell in his room is layered and old, like the walls have been blanketed in the smell several times before. Yep, they gave up on trying to stop me. Better to be in the house rather than getting caught by some cop outside. They just made me promise that I would never try something harder. Good thing they don't know I've already tried dick. He puts a lot of emphasis on the K as the bad joke seems to just dribble out his muzzle. I lean back on the bed, and that's when I notice his flat screen, just a 48-inch, is on. A list of video files displayed on it. I'm surprised that even fits in that room, that flat screen. What you watching? Oh, Carl grunts as he gets up and reaches for a game controller. Our old home movies. Was gonna show you some of them. How about a birthday? Sure. He scrolls down the list, then stops when Carl's 8th is highlighted and presses play. The backyard I was in an hour earlier pops up on the screen. Now a long table sits in the middle of the lawn, along with a massive bounce house. Not just any bounce house, but a giant 2-story one he'd find at the state fair. The video is timestamped April 19th, 2002. Fuck, I remember this. There are about 20 kids, mostly in the bounce house and most of whom I've forgotten. Right now, though, the camera is zooming in on an 8-year-old Carl. He's messing with a giant Nerf gun, the kind that no kid ever gets because they're so damn expensive. And that's when 8-year-old me enters the picture, holding a much smaller Nerf gun. His parents gave everyone a goodie bag that day. It had toys in it that I might not have been able to get on my own birthday. My kid self puts the gun to Carl's head and pulls the trigger, the dart bouncing off one of his horns. I specifically remember that moment. I had thought the suction end of the dart was going to stick, but of course it didn't. The audio is filled with a deep chuckle, Carl's dad behind the camera. You were a dick back then. What? I was 8! Still, you blew out my candles. Oh yeah. He got so mad about that. I start to settle back and smile. It's been a long time since I watched a home movie, and I've forgotten how nice it is to have this method of looking back. Kind of like when I get stuck on scrolling through all the old images on my phone. My younger self is trying to help Carl with the gun, lifting up the barrel and looking into the opening. Careful! Kid Chase pulls his head back with a jolt as Carl's dad yells, then mutters behind the camera. Let's see how long it takes him to trick Carl into trading with him. Carl's dad sounds exasperated, but good-natured. It still makes me blush a bit, now knowing how aware Jim was of my taking advantage of his son. Our struggles with the Nerf gun gets the attention of another kid, though. My breath catches in my throat as Sydney bounces into frame. I can feel Carl tensing up next to me, too, and he starts to lean for the game controller. And here comes the Mormon boy. The disgust in Carl's dad's voice shocks me, and I hear Carl whisper a curse next to me as he fumbles for the controller. Sydney reaches out and pulls the gun away from Carl as he looks it over, grinning. Hey! Suddenly, the screen switches back to the file menu, and we both sit there in silence for a few seconds. Sorry, I guess I forgot that. Of course Sydney was going to be at that party, but I'd honestly forgotten too. Yeah, I was thinking it was April 2002, so that was before he died. But like specifically right before it, like a few months. Also, that means we know the month that this takes place. It's March now, because Carl's birthday is a month away. If there was any way to perfectly ruin the mood, that had been it. I glance over at Carl and see him looking down at the gamepad, ears lowered, the insides red. Hey, it's okay. I mean, maybe it's a good thing to watch. Dad, I didn't know he'd say that. I'd rather not find out what else he said. Oh, yeah. I look around, trying to find something, anything, to distract us from what just happened. My eyes fall on the shelves holding Carl's game library. Want to play a game? It's just like old times as we go off through Winter Castle. The fact that he still has the old save files from when he was in college makes it all the more nostalgic. I get so into it that it gets dark outside without me even knowing, and pretty soon I'm looking out at the purple sky reluctantly. About time to go back. Carl sighs and pauses the game before stretching and dropping the controller onto his bed. Oh, come on. Sure you can't stick around? I don't know. I don't have any clothes or a toothbrush. We could walk over and get them. Carl seems pretty determined to make me stay, and there's not one reason why I can't, so I relent. Alright. Yeah, this could be fun. Yes! Carl looks happy and almost relieved. It'll be just like old times. He rolls to his hooves. And speaking of old times, let's make a pizza! I've suddenly caught Carl's enthusiasm. We go into the massive kitchen and pull a big frozen pizza from the fridge, and while it bakes, we sit at the counter and talk. At this point, the haze of pot has lifted from Carl's face, and he's animated and excited again, swiveling on one of the counter stools. For the first time in almost 10 years, I'm giddy and excited in the way you can only get when you're at a sleepover. That makes it a little jarring when he pulls out some beers, but I'm happy to have a few, and we guzzle them down as we talk about past sleepovers. Pretty soon, our reminiscing drifts into the present, and that's when the conversation slows a bit, Carl having less to say. I try to change the subject and tell him that he should come back to school. He just smiles and shakes his head. Okay. 3 hours later, we're both laying back on Carl's bed, head to toe, having just watched a shitty action movie. We didn't end up going out to get my stuff, so I'm just in my boxers, pleasantly drowsy and buzzed. And with dirty teeth. I hear Carl snuffle and look down my chest at him. What's up? He looks over at me and shrugs. Nothing, just thinking. What about? During our past sleepovers, Carl had always been afraid to be the last one to fall asleep. He tried to keep me up by talking, rolling over on top of me, and sometimes by just throwing shit at me. Wait, I want to see if I need to censor something here. Okay, no, he's in shorts. It looks weird like this. Well, it's not weird for the situation, but you know. He looks more naked than he is. I wonder if that's what he's doing now. I don't know. Life? That's a lot to think about. Not for me. I look over at him again. He's holding one paw up, looking through his fingers at the ceiling fan. You're just figuring things out. Carl lets his arm flop back down over his head, blowing out a sigh. I'm not figuring things out, man. I don't say anything. It's cool that he's reaching out to me, but I'm not sure I can offer any advice that he hasn't heard before. I just wish I could be doing something. I think for a moment. You've done a lot more than some people I know. I mean, your art is great. You did go to school even if you dropped out, and you were working while you could. There are a lot of people out there who can't even say that. Such as me. I haven't worked a day in my life. Well, actually, no, I have, but they weren't full work days. I think they were like 6 hours, and also they were mandatory. So, yeah. And no, I'm not talking about community service. It's a thing here in Finland where we have to, like, basically be interns at whatever job we can find. So I have actually worked at a school and, well, a school also, because the other one was in the kitchen, because I couldn't find another job. Or like a school counselor had to just give me that one. Yeah, anyway, Carl's more accomplished than I am. Carl laughs, but it's a sad kind of laugh. Try saying that to my mom. She's always got something to do. Always wants to do something. I just don't feel that. He turns his head towards me. I wish I did, Chase, but I just can't. His voice catches his throat, and I shrink a bit into the bed and pretend not to notice. The beer we've had is definitely partly to blame for this. He turns his head towards the wall, though, and I'm guiltily relieved that when he talks again, his voice is under control. I just wish it wasn't such a goddamn chore for me to just go outside, you know? I didn't know, but I nod anyway, even if he can't see. So he's agoraphobic, I guess? He's waiting for me to say something, though, so I clear my throat. That sounded like evil laughter, but it was nervous. I mean, it's okay to acknowledge that he has a problem, but it is also fine. But yeah, but I mean, I think he also knows he has a problem, so I don't know what saying that will do, but I guess it's I guess the more honest one. Don't take this the wrong way, but maybe you should see a therapist. He snorts and finally turns his head to look back at me, his horns bumping the wall loudly. I already do. I thought they'd just give me a pill to make things better, but apparently I had to actually make an effort to. And I'm like, isn't that why I'm seeing you? For the whole making an effort thing? I laugh along with him. Yeah, I can remember what that's like. He watches me for a few seconds. So, are all those problems you had taken care of now? I hope so. I don't think they are, but... We lay in silence for a little while, before I finally speak up. Listen, I'll probably come back a few times this week to work with that history stuff. Well, why don't we go out and do something? That would be nice. I grin, glad I'm making Carl feel better. Cool, let's plan on it. Carl puts his paws behind his head and smiles. It's cool that you're here, Chase. It's cool to be here, Carl. And not just because it's nice to have someone to talk to. Oh? No, this house is fucking haunted. Okay. I don't remember falling asleep, but it's at that moment that something wakes me up. I jolt, then lay there, trying to remember where I am. Carl's house, that's right. I stare at the ceiling, wondering what time it is. I don't bother to look at my phone. I don't bother to look at my phone, though, because I'm already starting to fall back asleep. A scraping noise from beneath me makes me jump, and I prop myself up on my elbows, listening. Looking over, I see Carl staring at the ceiling, eyes wide. Carl? I whisper it, and I'm not sure why. He jumps, then looks at me, confused, like he just woken up. Huh? Are you okay? Yeah, what's wrong? I think I hear something. His floppy ears perk up. Then his eyes widen. Although I didn't hear anything right then, he definitely did. You hear it? Yeah, like a scraping noise I told you about? Yeah. He looks happy. So I'm not fucking crazy. We both sit there and listen for a while, but it sounds like it stopped. Wanna go see what? Suddenly his eyes widen and his muzzle drops open in shock. I stare back. What? Did you fucking hear that? I listen, feeling my heartbeat pick up now that Carl looks fucking terrified, but I don't hear anything. What? Fucking voice! The fur raises up all over my body as I listen. But nothing. Carl definitely seems convinced though, so I listen harder. I just start to make out what might be a voice when Carl sits up next to me and gets out of bed. I feel myself start to panic. Did some crazy hobo break into the house? Or someone by the name of Leo? But then who would he be talking to? Or why would he be talking? Carl gets off the couch. Come on. What? What the fuck are we gonna do? Let's call the cops. No, let's make sure first. This has happened before. What? What do you mean? He puts a finger up to his lips. Grab something. What? I follow Carl out in the kitchen, and he starts rummaging through the drawers. I follow him, hugging my shoulders, feeling a lot colder right now. With the sound of metal sliding against metal, Carl pulls out a giant steak knife. What the fuck? Dude, I've been hearing this shit for the past month, and I've been too scared to go down there, but now with you here... He flashes me a smile. I'm gonna find out what the fuck this is. Here. He reaches into a spot between the fridge and the wall and pulls out a broom before sticking it out to me. I take it slowly. What the hell am I supposed to do with this? Hit him! Come on! Carl starts down the stairs and I follow behind, holding the broomstick in front of me like a sword. I've never had to hit anyone with a stick before. I have no idea what I'm doing. Once we get to the small door leading down to the crawl space, Carl pauses and we both listen. It's silent for a while, then... Shit! Carl looks at me like I'm crazy, not reacting to the noise at all. Shh! He leans down upon the handle. Looking back at me, he signals me with his eyes to be ready. I grip onto the broom like a lifeline as I wait for him to swing the door open, and when he does... Darkness. Shit. So whatever's down here is just slinking around in complete darkness? Hey! Carl says it unconvincingly, the fear clear in his voice. Then, after looking back at me, fuck it. He jumps down into the crawl space, disappearing into the dark. Carl! I stumble up to the edge of the steps, trying to squint into the black. I hear Carl to the right, rustling around and cursing. That's when light floods the crawl space. I quickly wobble down the steps, knowing that if whatever is down here is going to try to escape, it will be running right into me. Oh, okay. So if it was Leo, then he's gone. And in that case, I think he was probably trying to lead us here. With his voice? Maybe? I don't know, but like... Finally, I have a moment to catch my breath, standing several feet behind Carl as I look around, broom at the ready. There's nothing here. What the fuck? Sure enough, the crawl space looks empty. There aren't many places to hide, either. What the hell's going on, Carl? But he doesn't answer me. He's staring at the bins. Did you put the bins back? I look down and the bins are gone. I look back at where they were originally, and sure enough, they're neatly stacked right where we found them. I honestly don't remember. Did I move them back? Maybe. It would be something I might do. I'd try, but I just can't remember. No, I think it was Leo. Maybe. Dude, come on. I really don't remember. Carl walks further towards the back, ears perked, looking left and right as he clutches the knife. I start to follow, but that's when I notice something at the left of my vision, on the ground. Okay, so we actually do know how he probably got into the crawl space. So he had just been here for like hours, presumably. But that time I guess he was alone. But he also said he'd been hearing this stuff for like months or something. So that's weird. Looking down, I see something fat and hairy ambling slowly over the tarp. A giant fucking tarantula. The following few moments are a blur, but the next thing I know, I'm going up the stairs on my feet and pause, grabbing at the doorframe to pull myself up. Chase, what happened? I can hear him running behind me, so I turn to warn him. Look out! A big spider! Oh, I'm gonna run. So I can start hyperventilating myself too. I don't have much room to run, but look out! A big spider! The breath keeps crashing in my throat. I think I'm hyperventilating. I'm still clutching at the doorframe as Carl follows up behind me, his eyes wide. What? Come on, Chase, this is crazy. No, huge! A blonde! No fucking way! Now he looks excited, and he turns back to the crawl space. I feel numb right now. This is all too much to handle. What the fuck is even going on? Which way? Shakily, I point towards where the spider was crawling. Carl squints, then walks down the steps, looking around. Careful! If it was really a blonde, there's not much to worry about. I hear they're actually pretty gentle. I gulp and don't say anything. My head is pounding and buzzing, which for some reason doesn't exactly feel like it has anything to do with the adrenaline rush. Oh, it's more like a bad headache. Carl looks around a while longer while I focus on the steps, making sure nothing starts crawling up them. Is there... I thought there was like a static playing. Or like white noise, you know? I guess not. I don't even care about the possible hobo anymore. Finally, Carl comes back, looking confused. Well, there's nothing there. You know, sometimes I see shit when I'm really tired. When I go back upstairs, there's nothing there. This can't be happening again. I think it is. It's Echo Party! Yay, it went so well last time. I opened my eyes slowly. The pressure in my head tells me I didn't get nearly enough sleep. Wait, but we didn't see a letter from Sydney this time. I guess maybe I distracted him by finding the tarantula that didn't exist. Not really a surprise considering we were both up until 3. And our own ghost adventure a few hours later didn't help things. I hear the doorbell and realize that that's what had woken me up. Groaning, I reach under my pillow and feel around for a few seconds before I find my phone. The lump that is Carl under the blankets near my feet doesn't even budge, but my chair does squeak apparently. That was the cool thing about having Carl as a roommate. He slept like a fucking rock. I did pretty much anything I wanted to, and didn't have to worry about him reporting me to the RA. Even something like jerking off. That only happened a few times though. The rabbit I'm rooming with now is a different story. Again, the doorbell. I glance at my phone. 10 a.m. I also notice I have 5 texts and 2 calls. Hey! Sorry, hey. On way to Carl's house for a surprise party. Make sure you're ready. Hello? That sounds like the reverse of a surprise party. I mean, it's not a surprise for me, it's a surprise for Carl. I just had to be ready. I look down, then nudge some part of Carl with my foot. Judging by the thickness and consistency, I'm pretty sure it's his ass. He grunts. What? I think someone's at the door. He doesn't say anything, and a few seconds later, his guttural snores start up again. This time I really dig my foot in, and he yelps loudly, sitting up so fast his horns bang against the wall. He squints against the sunlight pouring in between the blinds, which turns his emerald eyes into an almost mint green. He raises up a paw to block the light and looks at me, frowning. What the hell was that? The doorbell goes off again. Door. Carl blinks at me, then slumps back down on his pillow, waving a paw lazily in the air. Let it ring, they'll go away eventually. Huh? Are you sure? He flops his paw around again. Solicitor, trust me. They see this house and make a beeline. No one else visits. I sigh, looking back down at my phone. Oh look, Leo texted me. That's probably him at the door. I guess my tone of surprise was a little too fake, because Carl sits up and eyes me suspiciously. Well, you can go ahead and answer it. You're allowed to touch my door. I sigh a little harder this time. Damn it, Carl. Fine. They're planning a surprise birthday party for you, so go down there, answer the door, and act surprised. What? But Carl's not just confused, he looks genuinely upset. He leans into the corner and pulls off the blanket, like he's preparing to ward off the boogeyman. My birthday isn't until next month. I pause, watching him. I know, but we didn't have much to do, so Leo thought... I slide off the bed and start pulling on my jeans and a shirt. Come on, I'll go down with you. Carl covers his face and rubs hard, the short fur on his muzzle bristling out in little spikes around his fingers. I just wanted to relax today, you know? Isn't that every day for you? I laugh to lighten the jab, but Carl just frowns. Well, not with you. I'm starting to wonder if all of this isolation has worsened Carl's issues, if he really has gotten the help he needs. That all of this hiding out has just blanketed the problem and let it fester underneath. We can relax. We're all friends here, Carl. Come on. I pick up his clothes left on the floor from yesterday and toss them at him. I'm at least relieved to see him putting them on, even if it's reluctant. My phone buzzes a few more times, but I ignore it and patiently wait for Carl to finish getting dressed. I think this will be a lot of fun. He doesn't say anything as he slowly rolls off the bed and pulls on his shorts. Surprise! Happy not really your birthday, bitch! As I open the door, a blast of confetti hits my face, along with a loud pop that leaves my ears ringing. TJ, not in the face! Sorry. I slowly pull the papery strings of confetti off of around my ears, as the smell of fireworks stings my nose. Where the fuck's Carl? I look behind me and step over to the side a bit, revealing Carl, who's got his arms folded tightly, head dipped. Good thing I didn't answer the door, huh? Period. Question mark period. Happy birthday! Leo bustles in, carrying 2 bags. Jenna follows, carrying medium-sized cylindrical cake covered in white frosting. Carl perks a bit when he sees this, his long ears bouncing. Hey, is that red velvet? Yeah, Flynn says it's your favorite. Store-made, though. I would have made it myself if Leo had warned us in advance. Hey, I just came up with this like 2 days ago. Flynn engages Carl with some fake punches, while Leo sets the bags down at the table, before turning to me with his voice low. Just so you know, your gift is a horn band. Okay, so is everything alright? With Flynn, I mean. Leo glances over at the lizard, quirking the corner of his mouth up towards his ear. Yeah, I think so. It will take a bit of time for him to settle down, but he already sort of apologized while you were gone. So that's a start at least, yeah? I exhale. Okay. Carl, where are your plates? The cupboard. Second door over. Now that Flynn's not shoving him around, Carl's standing awkwardly next to the table, paws fidgeting. So, why are we doing this? It's not until next month. Leo shrugs, frowning. We just wanted to do something, really. I mean, there's not much to do, you know? You have candles anywhere, Carl? No, I don't think so. What's up, man? Haven't had your morning joint yet? Lighten up! Flynn snatches up one of Carl's horns and wobbles his head around. While it's something Flynn did to Carl a lot, the taboo act of grabbing someone's horn almost makes me gasp out loud. Stop. Carl shoves Flynn off and smooths his beanie down. Well, I guess we'll have to skip the candles. I told you we should have bought some, Leo. Leo throws his arms out in a shrug. What? Sue me if I thought they'd have everything we need in this mansion. No kidding. You know how places you haven't been to since you were little look smaller when you visited as an adult? TJ's eyes scan the tall ceiling. This place still just looks giant. Sure, TJ. Carl huffs out of breath. Why didn't you guys tell me? I still need to take a shower. Quit being a pussy. You always smell like skunk. Now eat some cake. Flynn grabs up the knife while Jenna sets out the plates. The frosting is so thick it practically absorbs the knife. I haven't had cake for breakfast since, like, your last birthday party, Carl. Carl doesn't say anything, instead sitting at the end of the table, paws in his pockets. You guys sure slept in. What were you doing all night? I wait to see if Carl is going to say anything. When it's clear he isn't, I chime in. Video games, mostly, and a movie. Fun. It's something we could have all done together, though. Maybe for people who don't have a job to go to the next day. I don't think that was a personal dig at Carl, but I don't miss the downward flick of his ears. Flynn plops down a thick slice of cake onto Carl's plate, the inch-deep frosting making a splatting sound. Maybe we should just stick a doobie in there and light it, huh? Carl, who had perked up at the sight of the cake, shrinks back down with a frown. Just a small slice, please. Thank you, Mr. Tractor. It's always nice to have those fun little Easter eggs in my recordings. I mean, they're just doing their job, and I just happen to live, like, right next to the street where they constantly do their job, but doesn't mean I'm not allowed to complain about it incessantly. Flynn eyes TJ, who's holding out his plate, and positions the knife. Smaller, please. Oh my god, loosen up, you're on vacation! Flynn starts cutting the slice even bigger than Carl's was. Hey! Flynn. She says it quietly, but the chill in her voice is clear, and so is the fact that things aren't completely okay. Flynn grunts, then cuts the cake again, this time with a slice that's just an inch wide. That good? Yeah, that's fine, thanks. TJ moves away to sit down, and the warm glow of our little get-together tills, but Leo chips in with a laugh. Make sure Chase gets a real big chunk. He's getting way too skinny. I don't argue, and Flynn slaps down a large slice on my plate, a little notch in the center where he tried to cut TJ's. I sit in the vacant seat next to Carl, where he's resting a cheek in his paw, methodically shoveling the cake into his maw. Everything okay? Oh, yeah, everything's good. I'm about to ask more, but Flynn points across the table at us. Hey Leo, want to tell them about what we saw on the way here? Oh god, no. I look at Leo inquisitively, and even Carl's ears perk up a little bit. What? Leo purses his lips, like he's trying to decide whether or not to tell us. No, might not be the best time. Flynn rolls his eyes. Screw it. Oh. Oh, you're talking about that. Even though I'm pretty sure I read this line correctly, like, hey Leo, I think I still registered it as him saying hey Carl instead for some reason. So I was like, what, like when they drove up here like 2 days ago? Or yesterday in the morning? I think. But no, they're talking about the thing that we already saw on the other route. Screw it. You know Janice? The waitress? Yeah, the methed out one at the diner. Come on, Flynn. Well, anyway, we were driving up Main Street, toward the field, you know, with rusted barbed wire and stuff. TJ's hiding his face with a paw as he stares down hard at his cake. Uh-huh. Well, when we turned around the bend, we saw Janice. He keeps pausing for effect, and it's getting annoying. Okay, what happened? Well, she was all crouched over, staring at the road, and Leo starts driving up to her. I thought she was having, like, a heart attack or something. Yeah, well, as we got closer, we saw that her pants were down. I recoiled a little, not having expected that at all. What? Yeah, and when we pulled up next to her, she just grinned at us, and then... Flynn snorts out a laugh, covering his face, like he still can't believe what happened. Can we please not talk about this? It just makes me feel awful. What? Well, it's unusual to see Flynn at a loss for words. Well, she just started pissing. What? Why? I don't know. She just smiled at us and started pissing. Heard it first, then looked down and saw it. Then Leo hit the gas. Flynn sits back, done with his story, not exactly looking pleased with himself. I furrow my brow in confusion. I've done it a lot in this game. Well, Chase has. Or other people also have, actually. Furrowed their brow in confusion. That phrase is very familiar to me at this point. Janice? She was one of the more well-adjusted people living in this town. Leo lets out a cough into the awkward silence. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened. Like, maybe we missed something? Either way, she seemed fine a few days ago. Well, now I have more reason to never go into that diner again. We sit there, awkwardly. I notice Carl is still staring down at his now empty plate. I still can't figure out why Carl's being so quiet, but I see an opportunity to get him to talk. And change the subject. Hey, didn't we have some weird stuff happen, Carl? Carl looks up at me. Huh? You know, the sounds we were hearing? Oh, yeah. What kind of sounds? Like bumping sounds and voices. That sounds creepy. Yeah, and Carl just charged down there, like he wasn't even scared. That seems dangerous. Carl finally gives a little smile. Well, having a hard head can make you act crazy sometimes. So, did you find anything? No, we're not sure what it was. I'd watch out. Sounds like you got a pair of hobos banging out of your basement. As we eat... God damn it. I read it as we eat, Jenna. No, there's supposed to be a comma. As we eat, Jenna leans over and starts pulling out presents from one of the bags. Sorry, Carl. We didn't even have time to wrap these up. It's fine. She pulls out a comic book from TJ, a poster from Leo, and a manga from herself. I know you hate these things, but I think you should give it a chance. I'll take a look. Thanks. And then this horn band from Chase. She pulls out an orange and black band from the bag. The colors of my school. Carl's former school. Oh. He seems to be struggling to find something to say. Thanks. I didn't know people still wore these. Leo suddenly shifts against the counter, realizing that he had to explain my present. Well, they're making a comeback. We saw a couple rams and then a stag that had like 5 of them on. Carl glanced at me, and I could tell he probably knows I didn't get it for him. Mainly because of the university logo, and also because we'd made fun of them together a few years ago about how bro-y they were. I don't know if I should feel embarrassed or not, but my cheeks burn anyway. I promised myself to get him something thoughtful the next time we go to Peyton. Yeah, well, here's mine. Flynn reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small, hidden in his paw. He hands it to Carl, who looks confused for a second, before the expression turns to one of interest. Wow. It's a small, metal, rectangular box with 2 sharp points jutting out the top. I mean, they'll probably say what it is in, like, the next line, but I want to try to figure it out for just this. Small, metal, rectangular box with 2 sharp points jutting out the top. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I lean in for a closer look and realize those parts are horns and there's a complex, elegant design of a ram's face etched out on the front of the box. Okay. Carl presses a thumb against one of the horns and pushes. The top flicks up and over, and that's when I realize it's a lighter. Oh. Okay. Saw it when I was over on the reservation. Made me think of you. He reaches out and traces a finger along the horns and clicks it back shut. I look Dennis change in expression. God damn it. These two are romancing again. Thanks, Flynn. Well, it's probably more that it's a lighter. Actually. Yeah, now you look like a badass when he decides to get blazed. Yeah. Oh, sorry! We all jump and look over at TJ, who is looking at the floor, his plate gone from the table. Flynn starts to laugh, but catches himself. Oh, right. Carl's dad probably isn't gonna be happy about that. Don't worry about it. They've probably got 100 of those plates. Carl, where's your broom? He doesn't say anything, and we look at where Carl had been sitting a few seconds before. But he's gone, and so is another portion of the cake. Huh? Where'd he go? Hey, check between the wall and the fridge. I think that's where I remember seeing it. TJ gets down on his knees and starts picking up the larger pieces. I look back at Carl's spot, then up the stairs. I'll be right back. Bathroom. I'm not sure why the deck is the first place I look, but it's where I find him. I watch him through the paneled curtains for a moment. He's sitting on a little swing set, facing out towards the glaringly bright desert. There's an empty plate with a fork on it next to him. He's also toying with the lighter Flynn gave him, flipping it open and closed a few times and holding it up to the light. Smoke wafts up from his lap, where I assume he's holding a joint. Quietly, I slide open the glass door and step out onto the wooden balcony. The deck is, of course, nice and big, stretching around half the house. I see Carl's long ears twitch at the sound, and he lowers the lighter down into his lap, but doesn't turn around. Hey. He does turn around then, and smiles. Shit, I thought you were Leo or something. Would that have been a bad thing? I look around, then just decide to sit next to him on the swing. He just pulled me back to the party. I look over at him. He's looking down at his lighter, turning it over in his paws, the hoof portions of his fingers making clacking sounds against the metal. Those things always fascinated me. It seemed like it shouldn't make holding things more difficult, but he managed just fine. Are you okay? Carl huffs out a chuckle and leans his head back against the cushioned backing of the seat. That's a great question. Everyone's always asking me. He just seemed really uptight is all. Carl's demeanor is a lot more relaxed now, obviously. As if to emphasize that thought, he takes another hit off his joint and holds his breath for a moment, then lets it out. The pungent smell envelops me. I just don't like being around so many people. You know that. Well, yeah, but you were fine around them these past few days. Carl rubs his forehead hard with the paw holding the joint, using his palm. Yeah, well, things weren't about me then. Just felt a little put on the spot. He coughs. That shit just gets me nervous. Like, can't we just hang out and not make it about me? I don't say anything, annoyed again that I just can't grasp what he means. Because he would want to constantly think about himself being like a failure in his eyes. Am I making you nervous? Carl finally does look at me then, his massive horn swaying towards me. No, you never do, Chase. I do look away at that point, almost feeling self-conscious at the way he opened up to me. And thanks for trying to get me to talk earlier. Just makes me feel guilty though, the way people try and include me in things, and then I just disappoint them. Oh, yeah, same. But you just don't really force me into shit. Everyone feels like I need to do something. Why can't I just decide that for myself? I pushed against the ground, making the swing sway a little, trying to think of the right thing to say. I mean, it's good to do stuff, right? You can't just sit around doing nothing forever. I guess. It's just that I worry enough about it myself. I don't need other people doing it for me. Yeah. Oh my god! I've been thinking these exact same things recently. Not in the exact same context, but like, about just the things that stress me out that people constantly remind me of. I lean back in the swing for a bit, looking out over the desert. Man, I'm hungry. Wish I'd brought more cake with me. Not enough incentive to go back in? Not yet. I could go get you some. He smirks at me. You one of those fat fetishists, just feeding me garbage so my boobs get bigger? You don't have boobs, I felt them. Yeah, I can't keep her paws off me. You have to think for my fat ass. I look him over as I'm studying his figure. Hey! He covers his chest. Well, I actually do like bigger guys, and there's nothing wrong with extra weight, especially if it's carried well. He looks at me expectantly. Which you do. Sweet! You know, you seem like you'd be a pretty dope boyfriend. Just feed me cake all day and then get off on the results. I'm about to shoot back with something snarky when a stumbling figure catches my eye. Okay. Out on the sun-baked asphalt of the road in front of Carl's house, I see a thin figure, a weasel, I think, running up the road. He stops, panting, paws on his knees before he looks over his shoulder again. Okay. His whole body slumps then, like the air's gone out of him, like he's giving up on something. He turns around to look back up the road. He's far away, but even from here I can tell that he's talking. Carl looks over at my silence, then down at the road while I'm looking. Is that Duke? Yeah, that's him. Must be on something. He usually is. Duke finally turns around and starts to cower, his paws up in surrender. I think he's just seeing the same things we've been seeing. Or not the same, but like the similar. Because we're in Echo. I was saying in like part 1 or 2 or something that we're reacting to these things as if they're not normal, but they seem like they are normal for Echo. And yeah, it does now seem again like it is just normal for Echo. Probably increasingly so since we've come back here. Maybe, I don't know. His lips are still moving rapidly, reminding me of someone who's trying to say as much as they can before something cuts them off. What do you think? I trail off, as Duke suddenly whips his head around to look up at us, then starts pointing up at our balcony. Uh-oh, let's hope the doors are locked. Carl's chuckling, obviously finding the whole thing hilarious, but I'm a bit more on edge. I don't really feel like he's high. Duke's movements are a lot more focused, more precise, like he's all there. And for some reason it feels like he's looking directly at me. I furrow my brow, watching as the weasel turns toward us, sticking a foot out to take a step. Okay. Why are you pointing at me, Duke? Was I a nuisance when I was a little kid? I was. I've been told by Chase's thoughts. The sound of the sliding glass door winching open nearly makes me jump out of my skin. What the hell are you guys doing? Jenna marches around the swing set to stand in front of us, paws on her hips. Whoa, what's up, Jenna? Carl leans back in the swing, elbows over the back, smiling. Fox's eyes narrow as she sees the joint. Did you forget who this party was for? Carl shrugs and rubs his forehead again. Leo, I'm guessing? No. We spent all day yesterday getting this ready for you. Leo especially. Now get back downstairs and have your party. Carl sits quietly for a moment, then glances at me. No, I don't think I will. He's not smiling anymore, his face expressionless, head turned back towards Jenna, but his eyes are wandering off towards the side, looking at the sky. Why not? Because I didn't fucking ask for it. I pretend to look at my phone. What, a party? I'm so sorry we were trying to be thoughtful, Carl. Maybe we should just forget you next time, huh? Jenna, it's okay. We're just hanging out. She ignores me. I see the skin inside Carl's ears and around his nose turning red. Since he was a kid, Carl didn't deal well with conflict, usually running away the first chance he got. No, this was for Leo. I just don't understand why we couldn't do something that didn't involve— Sorry, Carl, but that's life. Sometimes you have to come out of your room. Sometimes you have to be the center of attention, and sometimes, God forbid, you have to talk to people. Well, what if I just want to stay up here and hide? Who gives a fuck? The look on Jenna's face is approaching contempt. Are you kidding me? This is difficult for you? Jenna. Again, she ignores me. I might as well be talking to a statue. Or maybe I'm the statue that she isn't paying attention to. I feel like something must have happened downstairs. This isn't like her. You'd never realize how good you have it, Carl. If you even had a taste of what I went through. I can practically feel the heat radiating off of Carl's body. He looks down at his lap. Are you blaming me for that? His voice breaks. We all have our problems. Some easier than others. Carl glares at her, trying to be angry, but I can tell it's not working. You don't know what kind of shit I have to deal with. Like being rich? No, it's like myself. Oh, how terrible. The one thing you have full control over. No, no! That's so fucking unfair! The quiver in Carl's voice doesn't exactly sound convincing, and the pot doesn't seem to be helping, as I can see his fingers shaking. Just like life. Carl's face is bewildered. What the fuck did I do, Jenna? Did I say something wrong earlier? Out of habit, he lifts the joint to his muzzle with his shaking fingers, but then flinches as Jenna steps forward. I guess he thought she was gonna slap him or something, but instead she just reaches forward and plucks the joint out from his grasp, right before flicking it back into his face. It hits his nose and Carl flinches again. Without a word, Jenna spins on her heel and opens the door even harder than she did the first time. I'm stunned. I haven't seen Jenna that angry since she was in middle school, and definitely never Carl. Carl doesn't say anything, instead rubbing at his nose, leaning back in the seat. Well, unless they explain it, I guess that's something we might find out in maybe Leo's route, or Jenna's, or Flynn's. The insides of his ears are still flushed a deep red. What the fuck was that? I don't know. Something must have happened. That wasn't Jenna. I'll ask Leo about it later. I didn't do anything, did I? I shrug, no words coming to mind. We sit in silence a while, listening to the train horns. Looking down, I see the joint still smoking up from the planks of the floor. Slowly, I lean over and pick it up before holding it out to Carl. He takes it and looks at it for a second. Raising his paw, he pauses, then takes a drag before flicking it off the side of the balcony. He lets his head sag, his big horns dipping toward the floor as he closes his eyes. Slowly, I put my arm around his shoulders. He leans into me and doesn't pull away. So, it's over with Leo, huh? Carlo waves his controller around like it's gonna help him avoid my 3-spike throw, almost knocking over his beer bottle. It hits him anyway, and he gives a little grunt of annoyance. I grin and consider letting up on him because he's clearly drunk. Oh, in the game. I thought he did that in real life. Seems that way. He hasn't really talked to me much since I got here. I leave out the part that's probably my fault. Carl lets out a weird little sound as I punch his character as if he were the one getting punched instead. Well, that sucks. Does it suck? He's looking intently at the screen. Still, I get the feeling he's not paying full attention, because it's getting easier and easier to nail his character with my combos. I don't really know yet. It's been 3 years. Maybe it just hasn't kicked in yet. Takes that long to kick in for you? When Tanya dumped me, I felt like I couldn't get out of bed for a week. Oh god. I remember that, back in high school, when we were both 16. Didn't she get you into pot? Carl lets out a snort again as I flip kick his demon character in the chin. Yep, and thanks Satan for it. I don't know how else I would have gotten over her. Anyway, not to be a dick, but you're better for it. He surprises me with a spin kick that sends my Angel Wolf character flying across the screen. I focus back on the game and throw a barrage of punches into his demon character's face, sending blood splashing onto the screen. Oh? Well, you know, it's just hard to talk to you and Leo when you guys are being all lovey and shit. His words are mushy, starting to bleed into one another. His character throws a flaming spear at my angel, which I easily deflect with my shimmering shield. I extend my wings and swoop in to throw my lightning bolts. Well, you know, no one really tried to talk to us when we were together. It was like we were making guys uncomfortable. Because you probably were. I watch his demon fly in the air, surrounded by a glowing white circle. Looking over, I see Carl frowning. No, I don't think so. His demon spreads its own much spikier wings and hovers up from the circle. He reaches up into the sky, and a red lightning bolt slams down into my character. You guys were just kind of self-absorbed. You didn't call me once after you guys started dating. And here I was thinking Carl never liked conflict. That sentence carried a lot of weight, and a lot of years behind it. I'm not about to argue with him though, especially after what happened with Jenna. That lightning bolt was it for my wolf angel, and his demon flies up to the screen and flips us off as winter is displayed. Well, there was college. Carl stretches, leaning back in the giant beanbag chair we're sitting on. I don't remember much of college anymore. He lays back in the chair and looks over at me. By the way, I have a job interview on Friday. My wise-eyed. Don't ask your surprise, Ethel. He hangs on to the last word with a lisp. You're drunk, but that's awesome. Where at? A print shop. Be a production assistant. Well, that sounds decent. Yeah, parents told me they'd buy me a car to get there. It's in Peyton, of course. But anyway, Flynn told me he'd give me a ride to the interview, but since you're here, he gives me a lazy sidelong glance. I guess I should be talking more slurred since he's drunk, apparently. While I usually wouldn't have an issue with it, the thought of how hard I'd been procrastinating my school project is starting to make my stomach churn. But hey, how often will I get to hang out with Carl when the break is over? I'd love to take you. You know, we were gonna go out and do stuff tomorrow. Why don't we change your look? Get you new clothes or something for your interview? He keeps smiling. Sounds great. So, what's it like, kissing a dude? I let out a surprised laugh. What? You know, is it like more... He wiggles his paws uselessly in the air. I don't know? You kissed a girl, right? Samantha, right? I think so, but that was like 7th grade. So was it different? I laugh at him again. Pretty sure it's just like kissing a girl, man. You sure? I feel like kissing different species would be even more different. Maybe. I've always sort of wanted to know what it's like. He says it slowly, deliberately, trying not to trip over his words. Yeah? I say it even slower because I think I know what Carl's getting at. I can see how guys can be sexy. Carl, are you coming out to me? He rolls over onto his stomach, facing me fully now. That's a good question. Maybe we can answer it. I'm a little buzzed, but not drunk. Are you asking if you can kiss me? He gazes at me lazily through lidded eyes, looking about ready to fall asleep. Only if you want. I'd been asked to be the experiment of a few guys in the past in college, and I'd always said no, but Carl... you know what? Sure. Why not? I guess. Yeah, I guess. And before this leads to like the worst ending. If you want. Carl's eyes widen slightly, then he slowly gets to his hands and knees and crawls towards me. I was gonna stand up, but it looks like he wants to do this on the beanbag. I lean back in the bag, sinking into it a bit more. Carl kneels at my feet, looking unsure. Is this right? Yeah. Do you want me to sit? Before I know it, he's crawled up on top of me. His presence is heavy and warm, and I lean back, feeling myself get hard despite the awkwardness of it all. He looks down at me, into my eyes, and I feel myself blush. Sorry, is it okay? Yeah, it's fine. He leans down, pauses, then leans in all the way, and I feel his soft, wide muzzle against mine. At the same time, I feel one of his paws slide behind my head. It's different than kissing Leo, or Samantha way back in middle school. Carl's muzzle is big, and more blunt, his lips softer and more malleable. I forget what malleable means. Oh, of a metal or other material. Able to be hammered or pressed into shape without breaking or cracking. Alright, makes sense. It covers the entire front of my muzzle. His beard tickles my neck and cheeks. I expect him to pull back quickly, but he doesn't, keeping his paw behind my head and pressing deeper into the kiss. His other paw holds onto my upper arm. I open my eyes and see that his are closed. He hunches over me, closer, and I feel myself start to respond, reaching up to wrap my arms around his broad back. He huffs in response, and then I feel his lips part, and his tongue flicks against my lips. I start to open them, but that's when I feel the beanbag shift, and Carl slides to the side. Somehow, he manages to slip and fall on the wobbly beanbag, his mouth sliding sloppily off mine as he slumps down on top of me. Aw. I let out a grunt as his weight comes to rest on my chest. He chuckles, and I can feel the spasms all the way through my own body. Scalies. Is that like aliens? Or is it like Godzilla vs. King Kong? I don't know. It sounds kind of like it would be offensive in this universe. But maybe not. Oops. I laugh too, then wait a while, but he doesn't move. Carl, you can get off now. He doesn't say anything. I'm about to say something else when I hear a deep snore right next to my ear. Carl? His response is another guttural snore. I shift under him, for the first time realizing how actually fucking heavy he is. It's not exactly a bad feeling. His presence is enveloping and warm, and the beanbag under me is offering enough cushion so I'm not getting crushed. The snoring isn't bad either. It's almost comforting as his breath tickles the hairs inside my ear. His big belly squishes up against my torso, like a warm sandbag. My eyes are heavy, and slowly I wrap my arms around his back. I haven't had someone to sleep with in years, and now I realize how much I miss the feeling. Slowly, the dim lights in Carl's room fade out as I fall asleep to his comforting, rhythmic snores. Aww. I can't wait to find out how I ruined everything by doing that choice. Stop! I heave for breath as I chase TJ down the dusty street, trying not to pop the water balloon that I'm holding with my claws. You always chase me! TJ's whining again, but I don't care. He's always the funnest one to hit. His crazy speed made it all the more rewarding. Even though he's a grade lower, he could outrun me easily. I can still keep up with him though, since he's running around houses and mailboxes. My 4th grade brain is easily able to figure out ways to cut him off. It's not long before I have him backed up against the back of the Benally's trailer home. Is that his last name? Benally? Benally? He does a stupid dance where he's running back and forth, covering his head. Stop! I stick my tongue out the side of my muzzle, following him back and forth with a balloon I have cocked behind my head. Goddamn. Hold still! No! He finally curls up into a ball against the house, crouching in the dirt in his blue swim trunks. I stop. Well, it's not fun if you're gonna try to run. He looks up at me between his fingers. You always throw it too hard. Well, if you... He suddenly darts to the right, but I'm ready, hurling the balloon right at his back. It doesn't explode, though, instead smacking against the spotted back with a wet splat. Ow! He skids to a stop, then immediately bends and scoops up the balloon, grinning at how the tables would turn. Uh-oh. I start jogging backwards as TJ heaves back with the balloon, but I don't have anything to worry about. In his excitement, he grips the balloon too hard, and I can see how his claws dimple the rubber before it explodes mid-throw. Water showers his head and dust kicks up, his dark spots speckle the ground just like his fur, I think. Aww. He casts the way cats do whenever they get any water on them, and I point and laugh. I can tell he's deciding whether or not to sulk and cry, and I hold my breath because I don't want the game to end. I think I win him over, because he smiles and starts to laugh too. That always happens to me. Well, don't hold it so hard. I wasn't! Yeah, you were. I see TJ's ears perk, and he looks over, towards the front of the house. What? But that's when I hear it too. Don't those water balloons! I don't know. Don't touch me! I'm not touching you, just give me the fucking balloons. Oh, Clint and Jeremy, okay. I thought it was his dad. Carl must have followed us, and they saw him out the window. Okay, I'm back. I had to leave abruptly there, and by had to leave abruptly, I mean my sister came over and I was too nervous to do the outro. Not because of my sister specifically, but because, like, literally anyone else being here. And yeah, I was gonna end this episode after, like, this a flashback scene anyway, but I might actually do the next day as well. We'll see how long that is, and if it's too long, then I'll just cut it and put that into the next episode. Or have that as the next episode. But if it's short enough, then I'll just keep going. Oh, actually, one more thing I forgot to say. I had been recording Undertale before my last recording session of this game. And that was on console, so I had my, like, computer audio turned off for that. And I forgot to turn it back on in OBS for this game, so I'm gonna have to go back and, like, record the game's sounds after I'm done editing this video, or at least that part of the video. So if it sounded a little bit weird and out of sync in some places, that's why. Anyway, Clint and Jeremy. Carl must have followed us, and they saw him out the window. My guts dropped my feet, and I feel like I'm gonna pee myself. TJ covers his mouth, and I see tears starting to brim in his eyes. I think fast. Go run and get Leo, he can help! Before I know it, TJ's tearing across the backyards of the houses, up the block where Leo's filling water balloons. At least that's where I hope he's going. Slowly, I pat around the house, peeking around the corner to the front yard. Carl's standing with his fists clenched, staring hard, trying to look defiant, but I can tell he's terrified. Multicolored water balloons are scattered around his hooves. He must have been carrying them all in his white tank top. He always wore a shirt when we did water games. What's the matter, cunt face? I'm not gonna hurt you.
Right.
Also, I just realized, Clint was actually mentioned in TJ's route. I went back to that Never Have I Ever scene, and they mentioned getting into a fight with Clint, so that makes sense. Although they mostly attacked, TJ and Carl, so it wasn't really a fight, according to TJ at least. Jeremy laughs stupidly at Clint, and bends down to pick up a purple water balloon. Purple regular alarm. I don't know why that reminded me of that. I just had such trouble reading it. Clint starts circling around Carl, and the ram follows him with his muzzle, nostrils flaring. As he's looking the other way, Jeremy throws the water balloon right in Carl's face. Following the smack of rubber on muzzle, the balloon explodes, showering all three of them in water. Carl whimpers and covers his face. I grip the side of the house, knowing I should do something, but my legs aren't moving.
Leave me alone.
Carl's doing a good job of not crying, but he's about to. Hey, we're just playing! Clint leans down to pick up another water balloon. That's when Carl makes a break for it, dodging around the bent-over Clint towards the street. Clint's too fast, though, and the ring-tailed cat instantly reaches out and catches Carl by one of his horns. He rides him for a second, jumping on Carl's back before using his long tail to trip the ram up. Carl lands on his stomach with a loud grunt as Clint sits on his back, holding onto his horns. Cunt! He stepped on my tail! Clint grabs both of Carl's horns and leans back. So far, I think I can hear his spine cracking. Carl screams in pain and reaches for his horns. With his face pointed at the sky, I can see the tears rolling down his face now. The one eye I can see is open wide, and I think he sees me, but still, my legs won't move. Hey! Leo jogs up the street, looking right at Clint. The ringtail sneers, but drops Carl back to the ground and stands up as Leo gets closer. The fuck do you want? Clint's weary. His casual demeanor more tense now that Lear's... What the fuck, Lear? His casual demeanor more tense now that Leroy Jenkins, no. His casual demeanor more tense now that Leo's here. I sigh with relief. Carl sits up and quickly rubs his face before standing and running back up the street, his hooves clapping loudly all the way. Leo doesn't even look at him, his eyes on Clint. I said, what do you want? You no understand? Oh, he's racist as well. Awesome! Honestly, Leo might not have understood. He'd only been here less than a year. Oh, okay. Well, I could give him an accent, but I'm not gonna. That would not go well. Still, Leo doesn't say anything, his jaw working, and I wonder if he's imagining chewing on Clint's neck. You're fucking crazy. Let's go, Jeremy. Clint is afraid of Leo, and he'd left us alone ever since the wolf had moved in, at least for the most part. Even though they're both 13, Leo is a head taller and almost twice as wide. Leave them alone. Clint stops. What? Leave them alone. Forever. Clint looks hesitant, obviously not wanting to stay, but unable to leave now that Leo had thrown out a challenge. Not in front of Jeremy. Or what? Or... He thinks for a second. It's not good for you. Painful. I hadn't been paying attention to Jeremy, but I see a sudden movement from behind Leo, followed by another smack and a splash. Leo arches his back, hissing at the pain from how hard Jeremy had thrown it. The wolf whirls around, one paw rubbing at his back as he snarls at Jeremy, who points and laughs. Right back! He doesn't see Clint running at him from behind. Leo! I yelp out his name, and he does turn around, only to catch a sucker punch right in the stomach. I can hear the thud, along with all the air going out of him all the way from here. Leo stumbles back and stops with his paws on his knees, gasping. I wince and cover my eyes, only to pull them back down immediately and see Jeremy leaping on Leo from behind and biting his ear. Leo screams in pain, but immediately twists and slams his knee into Jeremy's crotch. Jeremy lets go and lets out his own scream, which Leo puts an end to when he grabs the fox and swings him around by the shirt. Jeremy's forward momentum is brought to a halt as he slams headfirst into the oak tree. He goes down. Clint's scared, his eyes wide as he looks from Leo to Jeremy to the front door. Leo doesn't give him a chance, though, running forward and hitting him with a tackle that slams them both to the ground. I think I hear Clint start to beg, but Leo's fists start raining down on his face. Now all I can hear are crunchy, fleshy thuds as punch after punch hits Clint's face. And I can hear Leo too. Well, I'm gonna look that up before I say it. Not because I think it's, like, inappropriate, but because I want to know what it actually means so I can maybe say it more properly. Oh, you want to fight? Don't fuck with me. Apparently. ¿Quieres pelear? No me jodas! I don't think the translation helped. I think that was still stupid, but whatever. The sounds Clint makes go from snarling, to screaming, to gurgling, and I cover my ears because it sounds so terrible. Again, I feel like I should stop this. Leo looks like he's in a trance with how focused he is on hurting Clint. But again, I'm too terrified. I run in the direction Carl went. I need to tell him I'm sorry, that I should have helped him somehow, but that I was so scared. Even though this road doesn't lead to his house, I somehow get there. The sky is red and orange, even though it was noon just a few minutes ago. That is an odd shade for the sky to be. Looks like we're in hell. For some reason, Carl's house is bigger, much bigger than it should be. The architecture is pointier, different. I walk around it, slowly, looking for Carl. Looking down, I see hoofprints. They're too big to be Carl's, but I follow them anyway. They lead around the back of the house, right up to a wooden set of cellar doors. I reach out to them, even though I feel something terrible welling up inside my stomach. I pull on them, but they're stuck, as if welded shut somehow. A window well next to the doors draws my attention, and I get down onto my knees, then on my stomach as I look intently through the window. There are little clear spots on the glass, little paw prints breaking through a layer of old dust. The paw prints of children. The room is almost pitch black, but the red light behind me illuminates some of the cement ground through the windows. Behind the paw prints, I see something long and spindly crawl across the ground. Oh, great. And that's the end of that dream. I don't know where I am at first as I open my eyes, but the dimmed Lucha Lobo lamp tells me. Wait, is it Luce Lobo or Lucha Lobo? They've been spelling it two different ways this whole time. Well, not this whole time. They've only spelled it Lucha Lobo on Carl's route for some reason. Laying there for a while, I realize that Carl's no longer on top of me. My face fur is a little wet and my nose is stuffy. I look around, thinking that Carl probably went back to his bed, but he's not there either. He must be getting a drink or something. A dull, far-off thud makes me open my eyes again. I listen carefully, starting to worry that the sound came from downstairs. Again, I hear it, and it makes me jump this time. Shit, is it happening again? I hear a voice coming from the same area, directly below me. It's a lot more muffled, but I can still tell its voice, muttering and cursing. Carl? My voice sounds weak and warbly in the heavy silence of the dark house. The scuffling sounds below me stop for a second, though, then start up again, more vigorous now. Sounds like Carl's having a fight with the intruders or something. Slowly, I sit up, listening to the whispering and thumping beneath me. Oh, my mind flashes to Duke, the weasel's foot forward, his eyes locked on me. Finally, the anxiety gets to me, and I stand up, walking as quietly as I can from the room into the hallway. The kitchen is dark, and I move over to the front door to check and see if it's locked. It is, so I move over to the stairs and look down into the inky blackness, almost afraid to turn on the lights. Nothing jumps out at me when I do, but the light is actually making me more afraid, knowing that it will light up anything that's down there. I move down the stairs as quietly as I can, every creak making my fur bristle. The scraping sound is louder now, and so is the voice. I'm almost positive that it's Carl, but I can't be sure. I call out his name again, but it's almost a whisper in my throat. I clasp my paws together against my chest, eyes flicking to each doorway as I slowly move down the hall, not wanting Carl to get the jump on me. When I finally get to the crawlspace door, I can pick up a rhythmic thumping along with the scrapes, and the muttering is much clearer now. What the f-
Buried inside. Help.
I shiver. Carl, this isn't funny! Again, my voice is weak and unconvincing. He probably didn't even hear me. Another thump almost shakes the house, and I jump. What the hell is he doing? Is it even Carl? Did whoever's down there murder him and is now in the process of burying his body? The fear is too much, and I know I have to open the door now and put an end to this stupid prank, or I'm gonna call 911 and make everything worse. With each step I take towards the doors, it feels like the air gets more electrified, the charge making my fur stand on end all over my body. As soon as I touch the tiny knob to the door and start to pull it open, though, the sound stops. I freeze, listening hard. I get the feeling that whatever is down there is doing the exact same thing. Then I hear a series of thuds as whatever it is runs at the door. I fall back and can't help myself from shrieking, landing on my ass and scooting backwards with my paws and feet. The door flies open, and I'm face to face with a dusty Carl. Carl, what the fuck? I scream at him, my chest heaving as I clutch it, like I'm about to have a heart attack. He looks confused, looking around, then back at me, breathing hard himself. I was just... I wait, but he doesn't say anything. I also feel like I've seen this exact line quite a few times in the game. Or maybe just like one other time that I've seen, that I've like replayed a few times because I've edited it. There's white dust all over his horns and on his shoulders. Just what? I yell at him again and he jumps. I'd feel bad if I wasn't so freaked out. I sleepwalk sometimes, okay? I debate whether or not to accept that as an answer, but he looks confused enough that it just might be true. You scared the shit out of me! Carl moves out of the crawlspace, leaning over to brush his head off. They spelled crawlspace correctly. They've been spelling it with a space in between this whole time, and I was like, not acknowledging it because I wasn't sure it was wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. Nope, it's not wrong, actually. It's either one. Yeah, either one's correct. You scared the shit out of me! I didn't know where I was. I slowly get to my feet, still breathing heavily. What is that stuff? What were you doing in there? Just dust. It's dirty down there. Again, I feel like he's leaving stuff out. I tried to look past him into the crawlspace, but he closed the door. How do you sleepwalk into the crawlspace? That's like really elaborate, sleepwalking. And into a room you've only gone into like once. In a long time, I guess. Come on, I need a smoke after that. I stand back to let him pass, tempted to open the door again. He grabs my arm when he sees me looking, though. Seriously, dude, let's go. I don't really want to be alone in this house right now. Please. I look at him, and I can tell he's definitely freaked out. I would be too if I woke up in that crawlspace. Yeah, let's go. Slowly, I follow him, looking back at the door before flicking off the light. Alright. Thursday. Okay. It faded in, but it didn't fade out. It just got... Anyway, yeah, I guess I'll keep going. Are you sure you don't want to come down? Carl lays spread out on his bed, game controller clutched in both of the paws that are thrown over his head against the pillow. He offers me a glance, but returns back to his game. This time it's a new-looking open-world fantasy, and honestly, I'd much rather be watching him play it than doing homework. I just don't want to distract you, man, and you know how much help I am. I frown. Well, it'd be more for the company than anything. Don't you want to look through the stuff too? Carl screws up his muzzle, as if contemplating. I've seen most of it, dude. I wrapped up half the stuff in there. Well, alright. I pause, but he doesn't say anything. It's clear he's not interested, so I have no reason to nag him. Still, it sort of hurts my feelings. As I make my way into the basement alone, I realize another reason why I would have appreciated Carl's company. The house is as creepy as fuck. Is fuck all that creepy? I've always been a bit of a pussy when it comes to scary things. I mean, once, after I'd seen a scary movie about possession, I'd been afraid to go to sleep for weeks, mainly because my nightmares can seem so real. It took almost a month for me to manage it without the lights on, and I was 18 at the time. And now I mentally kick myself for remembering that movie while I'm down in Carl's creepy basement, alone. Once I get to the crawlspace, I do an awkward half-run to the flood lamp that probably would have made Carl laugh his ass off. The crawlspace really is fucking creepy. I imagine Carl sleepwalking down here, which I'm pretty sure is what happened last night, then waking up alone in the dark. I can understand why he was so freaked out. Yeah, didn't he say he was stuck or something? Like, that was weird. Was he stuck in his dream inside of something? Yeah, I guess I'll have to look at that scene again when I'm editing, but the sight of the plastic tarp at the bottom of the steps brings back memories of the tarantula as well. Shit. Now I have good reason not to go down there at all. I still don't know if what I saw was real, or was some kind of hypnagogic hallucination that my mind always seems so keen to throw at me. I scan the tarp. It's white, and clean surface free of any insects, as far as I can tell. I shudder again before making my way slowly down the steps, eyes still darting around. Come on, you idiot. This is ridiculous. When I was younger, I used to have a problem where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and see spiders crawling up my walls. I'd scream, and one of my parents would come running in to tell me nothing was there. My dad talked to his psychologist friend who told him it was normal, so he didn't do anything about it. Over time, the hallucinations stopped. They didn't come back until I took the night shift near my university's campus. After that, I started to get sleep paralysis, and about half the time, spiders are involved. My feet crunched their way across the tarp, back towards the tubs that I know are marked history. I stared at them for a second, remembering that 2 days ago the tubs had been turned to have their sides facing the entrance to the crawlspace. I clearly remember seeing them that way over Carl's shoulder, right before I saw the tarantula. Now they're turned so that their ends are pointing to the front. I mean, that could have just been Carl. But didn't we also mention it earlier that they were moved back to where they were? Possibly because Leo broke in and tried to hint at the treasure hunt letter. I frown, but the prickling feeling on my neck doesn't feel good, especially with me being alone down here. So I shove that to the back of my mind and grab the end of the bottom tub so I can start dragging it back towards the stairs. Sitting down and taking the lids off, I start sifting through the contents. Again, something isn't right. There are a few empty wrappers lying around among the artifacts, as if someone had unwrapped a few trinkets before taking them. I wonder if Carl decided to take a few things. God knows why he would. Oh, yeah, Leo. Because he probably took the lunchbox. Maybe. I guess that is that in the history box? Am I looking in the history box? Is that yeah, it is the history box that I'm looking through right now. So it is kind of weird. Where are the other letters in? I do not remember. But maybe some of them are in this box. I remove those wrappers, 3 in all, and set them to the side before digging further in. This particular tub has a divider in it. As I start unwrapping things, I realize that one side is for the harder artifacts like keys or knitting needles. The other has mostly paper items like photos and documents. On the paper side, I see a thick folder labeled Biography of James Hendricks. My eyes widen. Now that would come in handy. Is this a book, or... As I open it up, I find a bunch of loose papers inside. While it's clearly copy paper, it's old enough in its own right. I move back down to the tarp so I can start spreading the documents out, not wanting to lose anything. I'm breathing heavily at this point, hardly believing my luck. There are hundreds of pages, and I hardly know where to start. After a while, I begin to deduce what this is. Someone's been trying to write a book on James Hendricks. From what I can tell, it was Carl's mother, Trisha. Some of the documents were typed out on typewriter, so this might have been started as far back as the 80s. Getting married, having kids, and running a company probably slowed things down just a little bit. I grin. Well, it's too bad that this might never see publication. Carl's mom has no idea how much she's saved my ass. On top of that, she's got it all organized. One divider indicates James Hendricks, while another marks Emma Hendricks, who I assume is James's wife. A few of them are filled with several names. Marilyn Smith, John Begay, Yanaha Begay, Christopher Leeway. Finally, the last section of the binder is filled with dividers indicating dates. 1825 to 1852, 1852 to 1875, 1875 to 1878, and 1878 to 1891. I start with that, my fingers shaking a bit with excitement as I start poring over Trisha's meticulous timeline, using my phone to take notes. James was born in 1825 to an immigrant family from Ayr. Is that Ayr as in, like, Ireland? His family faced oppressive prejudice from the day they arrived in the country. Despite this, they managed to make a living, with James's father becoming a plumber, a profession that mainly dealt with lead. His father, Martin, was abusive, even more so than was acceptable for the time, and James suffered greatly for it. The mysterious death of his 5-year-old sister, Martha, led many of the townspeople to suspect murder on the father's part. But this was never proven. James left home at the age of 15. He told his remaining sibling, Jane, that if he were able, he'd find a place for both of them to stay to escape their father. Not much is known about James Hendricks between 1840 and 1849, with Trisha assuming that he simply job-hopped around this tri-state area. What is known is that James set out west in 1850 during the gold rush. Luck struck quick, with James finding gold in a quartz deposit in 1852. The first person James confided in about the find was his only friend, John Begay. John was a native desert fox, and would go on to become James's business partner. This comes as a bit of a surprise due to John's many recorded instances of prejudice against the natives. Oh, Oh, that's what you meant by native desert fox. I guess I should have been able to infer that, but yeah, like Native Americans. Okay, makes sense. Not the prejudice, but I mean, I guess considering if we're comparing human history with this history, it makes sense. But like, with John's help, James officially laid claim to the mine before turning it into a business. While Echo was originally a small camp of less than 20 people, it became a mini boomtown. Over 2,000 people arrived within the next 3 years. Things went well for James after that. He became rich, built a mansion in Echo, and lived off the mine's seemingly endless flow of gold. He sent Jane, who was married with a large family at the point, a yearly sum of money. Meanwhile, no money was sent to his parents, who were living in deep poverty. He married Emma, a girl half his age, in 1860. Wait, so how old is he? Because depending on his age, that's... I mean, I guess even if he was like 50, it would still be kind of weird, but... They had 5 children: James, Thomas, Genevieve, Carol, and Martha. Things changed for James in 1875, though, when he was accused of sodomy with John Begay. Okay. The land being lawless at the time, John Begay was hanged by the locals. James was never convicted of the crime, likely because of his strong influence in the town. Okay. However, the ostracism grew to be too much, and in 1878, he left his family to live in solitude on the West Coast. He quietly started a moderately successful ice cream business in the 1880s. It didn't grow into the regional juggernaut it is today, until it was taken over by his grandson, Peter. He died there in his villa in 1891 from an unusual insect bite. I rubbed my eyes and checked the time. 3 hours have passed already, and it's late in the afternoon. Apparently Carl's game is so good, he hasn't even bothered to come down and check on me. I sigh and gather up a few of the items. A pocket watch, what looks like a nugget of gold, and what I think is a stamp with a crest on it. I'll need to take the pictures outside, considering how dim it is down here. I lay the items down on the Adobe. I know the company's pronounced Adobe, but... Okay, it's pronounced the same way. I lay the items down on the Adobe sidewalk that leads up to Carl's house. Deciding that will make a suitable background, I start taking pictures. Hours after the discovery of the binder, I'm still relieved. I was really starting to worry with how little time I had left, but Trisha's research has saved me hours of time. In fact, she'd pretty much laid everything out for me. I nearly jump out of my skin and spin around, still clutching my camera. Behind me, I can see the window still rattling from the force of whatever it knocked on it. Whatever? I would assume it's Carl. Oh, it's a basement window, in a window well, though I can't see anything through it. It's too dark. I stare for a while, frowning. What the fuck was Carl doing? Did he go back downstairs and somehow see me through the window and decide to scare me? I slowly gathered the artifacts back up and placed them in my bag, keeping an eye on the window as I do. If he wanted to pull that shit, then I could play that game too. The only problem is that Carl isn't in the basement. From what I can gather, it was the window next to the crawlspace that was hit. Looking out, I can see the spot where I must have been standing. The chills return, and I shiver as I move back to the crawlspace. It had to have been Carl, though I don't get why he wouldn't have stayed down here until I came back. I gather everything back up, and start to place them back into the tub in the same order I had taken them out. And that's when I notice something. At the very bottom of the tub, a plastic baggie has been opened with its contents spilled out. I set down the binder which I had been about to put away and reach in, sifting through the spilled papers. They're newspaper clippings from the town of Peyton. They're incredibly old, and I can't imagine this is the best way to preserve them. Either way, the fashion in which they're carelessly spread out across the bottom of the tub makes me wince. I don't remember leaving it this way, and it makes me feel sick that I could have damaged any of it. Slowly, I push all of the clippings back into the baggie, making sure to seal it tight after I do. From what I can see, nothing's been visibly damaged. I sigh before putting everything back in the tub and shutting it with a lid, making sure it's sealed tight. It's a shame that it's been so difficult for Carl's family to set up the museum. From the looks of it, some of the stuff isn't going to last much longer without proper preservation. Finally, I drag the tubs back, and subconsciously take note of exactly how I left them before heading back upstairs. When I get upstairs, though, Carl is asleep. His controller is still above his head, clutched in his paws as if he'd fallen asleep the moment I'd left. On the screen, his character is immobile, standing in the middle of some hut. A single NPC stands in front of him, walking back and forth. Every now and then it stops in front of him, exclaiming, "What are you doing in my hut?" I was gonna make a guess as to what game he was playing, but it's definitely like some game that I haven't played. I reach out and place a paw on his shoulder, and he immediately opens his eyes, snorting loudly. He sits up and rubs at his face, snorting again as he breathes deeply. "Did you go downstairs?" "Huh? What happened?" It's almost funny how utterly confused he looks. If he's acting, he's doing a damn good job of it. "I heard some noises downstairs. I thought it was you." "No, I don't think so." Things were moved around, too. He takes in a deep breath before blowing it out. Was he sleepwalking again? "I told you, man. This place is haunted. I wasn't joking." We both look at each other for a moment. Finally, Carl breaks the awkward silence. "So, how'd it go, aside from the ghosts?" "It went alright. Just 3 hours and a bunch of research." He looks at me blearily. "Oh shit, seriously? I was gonna come down after a while, I just fell asleep, yeah. Anyway, we were supposed to go out today." "Really?" "Yeah, remember? You said so a few days ago." Carl looks around. "Well, what did you want to do?" I think. "Don't you have an interview tomorrow?" "Don't remind me." Carl picks up his controller again, and I frown. "Well, I was thinking we could go out and maybe give you a new look." Now Carl frowns, clicking away at the controller. "Like what?" "Well, your clothes, for one. Do you have any dress clothes?" You don't? Seriously? Have you ever had an interview before?" "Well, yeah, it's just that I've grown out of them." "Uh-huh. Well, we'll definitely need you to get some of those." I look at his beard thoughtfully. "Maybe we should give you a more clean-cut look?" Carl doesn't say anything, and instead goes on frowning. I put a paw down on his controller, forcing him to pause. "Come on, it could be fun. You can't stay in this house, in this room, forever." He finally does look at me then, his expression kind of sad. "What's wrong?" Carl looks away, then stands up slowly, his joints popping. "Nothing. If it makes you happy, then why not?" "Great. Just so you know, I'd rather just play some video games with you." It's tempting. Just watching Carl play is a lot of fun, what with his style and commentary. He could be a YouTuber. He's Jacksepticeye! Like I said, honestly, he might very well be based on Jacksepticeye. I don't know. This game, I think, did begin development in 2015, and that is when Jacksepticeye was wearing that hoodie a lot, I think, and that hat. Although I think this is a different kind of hat. But it looks similar from this angle. But this is more important. I really want to help him out. Maybe later tonight. Let's get this done first. So apparently your great-great-great-great-grandfather was accused of sodomy. What? Carl looks up from his phone, his muzzle wrinkling. Yep, with John Begay, who I'm almost positive is related to Jenna, but I'll have to ask her. Are you serious? How did you find that out? He pauses. And maybe don't ask Jenna about that. From what I can tell, your mom's trying to write a book. Carl strokes his beard. Oh yeah, she is, isn't she? Well, was, more like. I don't think she's worked on it in years. From the looks of it, she started it in college. Damn. Well, I do remember her saying it stressed her out a lot, or that something happened to make her stop. Carl seems to be thinking. Actually, I think I remember her talking to my dad about how those old things freaked her out, or something. He shrugs. But we've always said the house is haunted. Carl's phone starts buzzing. And speaking of Jenna, she's calling me. Carl looks a bit perturbed, but he puts on a cheerful voice as he answers it. Yo, whale ears! Ah, that old name. As he listens to her response, I see a smile slowly slide off his face. I can hear the sharp, muffled tones of Jenna's voice, even though he's holding the phone on the other side of his face. She's still mad. I guess she cuts him off because he doesn't finish. I glare. Here, let me talk to her. The way Jenna acted yesterday, which isn't like her at all, is giving me a pretty good idea of what she's going off about right now. Carl doesn't give me the phone though, instead just staring out the windshield as we continue on the highway. Finally, he lowered the phone from his ear, then stares at the screen for a while. Oh wow, there's two errors in this one. I don't think I've seen that in this game so far. Usually the typos and grammatical errors are like pretty spaced out. She hang up? Yeah. Said something about how Leo's depressed now, and how us hanging out by ourselves isn't helping things. I roll my eyes. You know what? Fuck Jenna. She's been on one since Leo's day didn't go the way he wanted it to. For some reason, she just wants to blame you. Yeah. Well, the both of us, actually, because we're just hanging out by ourselves. Carl looks out his window, so I can't really gauge the mood he's in. Is that a way to spell gauge? Gauge. Gage versus gauge. What's the difference? Okay, so this is a word, but the rarely used word gauge, spelled with no U, means something as a glove thrown down by a medieval knight in token of challenge to combat. Yeah, I don't think that's what they're referring to here. Sometimes gauge with no U is used as an alternate spelling of gauge with a U in technical context when referring to measuring equipment or machinery. However, this usage is very rare, and the spelling gauge is much more commonly used even in technical language. Okay. Thanks, dictionary.com. Listen, let's get something to eat first. I'll buy. No, my parents are rich. I'll pay. I can't exactly argue with that, so I don't. I also don't feel like I can leave it at that, so hesitantly, I reach out with a paw and place it on Carl's shoulder. Seriously, let's have fun today, okay? Forget Jenna. He looks over at me and gives me a sad smile. I'm fine, Chase. I just want to get this over with so we can go back and play some games. I sigh. Is that all you think about these days? Hey, lots of people play games for a living. Name one. Rob Lowe. That's a sport. Still a game. I can name one. Jacksepticeye. I grin as I hear that jokey playfulness back in his voice. Glad I'm able to take his mind off Jenna for the moment. Also, I'm pretty sure gaming YouTubers existed at this point in 2015. Well, no, I know that because Jacksepticeye existed. And he had been making videos for like 2 years, I think. And also Five Nights at Freddy's had come out in 2014, so like obviously gaming YouTubers existed. But that was just a huge thing on YouTube. Well, at least that keeps them active. Playing games all day will get you unhealthy. Fat? If you didn't notice, I'm already there. You're not that bad. I swear you're mostly muscle. And I guess I've got nothing to worry about. But you should get out more. Why? I've got entire worlds in my game. I don't know. What about girls? They're in games too. Well, you can't exactly touch a boob with your actual paws in a game. I don't know. I swear they've got those in Anime Land. You know what I mean. Already done it. Not that great. You a queer or something? I say it with a terrible, really bad southern accent. Let's just say I don't label my sexuality. I let that sit for a second. That's a pretty queer thing to say. Guess I'm a pretty queer dude then. Is that so? Besides, until I'm able to see my hooves again, I don't think any girls are gonna be after me. Well, that's what we're doing right now. Trying to give you a new look, a fresh start. It'll boost your confidence and your appeal. You'll have girls and boys after you. Again, Carl doesn't act very enthused about that. I tell myself it's only because he has to go out. Once we get there, I'm sure he'll cheer up. I swear, every store in the Peyton Mall is dark and covered in neon. Carl stands there awkwardly, looking around as if unsure about what to do. So, what kind of look do you want to go for? Carl looks at me like I'm crazy. Seriously, dude? I have no idea. You brought me here. Just work with this for the next hour, and I promise we can go to the game store next. Carl makes a big show of sighing, but I assume the twitch in his ears indicates he'd like that a lot. Well, it's just dress clothes, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. Carl's getting all insecure the way he did during the surprise birthday party. It's kinda cute. Carl? Chase? The voice comes from behind me, and Carl smiles on my shoulder before I turn around. Raven? Oh, the black and white two-tone husky is just a few feet behind me, grinning. He looks pretty chill, so I'll give him like a pretty chill voice, I guess. How long has it been? Too long, man. What are you doing here? Family moved back after Dad got fired. Now I work here. I could ask the same about you, Chase. Oh, just on spring break right now. You work in a clothing store now? Raven laughs. No, I'm a store down. I work at Game Central. Carl perks up at that. So you're still in school, huh? Well, it's great to see you. Raven's accent is only slightly detectable now, the only noticeably foreign thing about him being his name. Is that even foreign? I just thought it was like like a cool name that some like hippie parents would give their children. So, what are you guys doing here? Getting clothes? Yeah, for Carl, actually. He has an interview tomorrow. For some reason, Carl ducks his head at that, and through his ears, I can see him blush deeply. Oh really? It's about time. I mean, I have had a job before. So what kind of look are you going for? When Carl doesn't answer, I speak up. That's what we were trying to figure out just now, actually. Carl shrinks further into himself, his hat seeming to fall further over his eyes. Dude, it's just dress clothes, really. Well, I think you should get her a tie at least. Might go good with your eyes. And maybe trim that beard. Since when are you a fashionista? Come on, Carl, let's at least try it out. Carl sighs, rubbing his forehead. Okay, fine, but only as long as we're out of here in the next hour. Hey, I gotta get back to work, but I'll be free in about an hour. Let's catch up! I wave at Raven, then turn to Carl. Well, that was nice. Didn't think I'd ever see him again. Me neither, actually. I'll have to hang out with him more. I mean, I like Flynn, but having to put up with him just to get a ride to the store isn't always worth it. Well, anyway, if you're wanting to get out of here in an hour, then we should probably get started. The process is a lot less painful than Carl makes it out to be. Soon enough, we're on our way to the food court, Carl carrying a bag way too big for the contents inside. We meet Raven again, and once we get our food, he suggests we eat outside. I look from my full combo meal to Carl's small, tiny container of tater tots. You not hungry? Carl just shrugs and grins at me. You just don't know the way to the fatty. Huh? We're judged all the time, especially when we're eating. Oh. Okay. He delicately bites a tater tot in half, before adopting a sarcastic tone. Ew, gross, of course he's eating. That seems kind of unfair. See, Raven thinks so too. The husky is in the middle of a huge bite of his Subway sandwich, his eyes on Carl. He swallows before speaking. I can see that you're self-deprecating as ever. You know me. So, Chase, are you still dating that wolf, Leon? Leo, and no. I ignore the sidelong glance I get from Carl. Ah, sorry about that. You two were really cute together. It's hard to know what to say when people comment on your relationship. If someone isn't homophobic, gay relationships are usually cute or adorable. Or maybe it was just a size difference. I mean, what do people say about relationships in general? I feel like it mostly just amounts to cute. But seriously, I've always wanted to date an otter. Oh really? Yeah, they're adorable. Swimming clowns. Do tell. Raven picks up on my sarcastic tone right away, but it doesn't seem to faze him. Well, yeah, you know what they say about otters and blowjobs. What? Carl almost chokes on his last tater tot. The hell, Raven? You barely know him and you're saying that shit? Carl's laughing though. I'm sure to keep my face passive. Oh, what do they say about otters and blowjobs? Raven laughs. You know, they have to come up for air. 10 minutes, non-stop. Okay. Raven giggles, then makes a visible effort to keep a straight face. Sorry, I don't mean to make you uncomfortable. It's just one of those jokes I always hear. You can imagine I do too, and it's 8 minutes, by the way. Psh, I'd take that too. Carl crumples up a straw wrapper and flicks it off Raven's bluish-looking nose, to which he simply smiles. Carl stands up. Hey, I'm going to the bathroom. Raven, don't be a dick. I'm not! I'm not! I don't know what voice said it. I'm sorry, Raven. I've lost your voice. I don't know where it is. We both watch Carl amble off before Raven turns back to me, that dopey smile back on his face. So, how long are you gonna be here, Chase? We need to catch up. I wonder what catching up means when our biggest interaction up until this point was dissecting a shark in high school biology. A shark? An entire shark? Sunday. School starts up again on Monday. Despite having a head start on the project thanks to Carl's mom, I still get a nervous twinge in my stomach. I still have a lot left to do. Voiceovers, B-rolls, and, oh god, editing. I know the feeling. We should hang out. His adorable excitement is barely contained, and I'm pretty sure I can hear the thumping of his tail against the curb we're sitting on. Despite my earlier offense at his stereotyping of otters, I am reminded at how much worse dogs get it. They're not common in Echo, or this side of the world for that matter. Oh, interesting. I mean, I guess that makes sense. There's seemingly no humans in this world. And also they're like humanoid dogs, so they can't really be man's best friend. They just are man. Or, I don't know, maybe there are, like, regular humans in this world, it's just, like, in Africa and maybe Europe or something. While otters are thought of as entertainers, I feel like it's better than dealing with being seen as a simpleton. Oh. Really? Dogs are so smart, though. So the main reason I'm here is to do a new segment on Echo for class. Ooh, is it gonna be on TV? I laugh. No, I mean, maybe I could get it into rotation on the college TV station, but otherwise, no. Well, still pretty cool. But my point is that it's kind of boring. What? Is it just a bunch of writing, or? Mostly going through old stuff. Carl's family saved a bunch of artifacts from the old days. Oh, so you're like actually touching the old stuff? Yeah, that's kind of a weird way to put it, but yeah. That sounds awesome! Its outgoing nature is kind of infectious. I smile. Well, if you're really interested, I wouldn't mind having some help. That's great! I have the next 2 days off. Cool. We'll ask Carl when he gets back. I'm glad I was able to think of a not super irritating voice for this guy. Then, if we're gonna be hanging out for the next few days. As long as I just remember how to do the voice. And what the voice is. It takes a while for the Ram to return, but when he does, he seems a bit reluctant to agree to the idea, which kind of surprises me. But eventually we convince him, and we make plans for Raven to come over the next day. As we're heading back out to the car, I nudge Carl, forcing him into a slight stumble. What's up? What do you mean? I try to keep my tone light. You seem a bit down. Actually, you have all day. Carl shrugs. I nudge him again, and he giggles. I don't know, it's just awkward coming out here and having you two just examine me like that. Oh, yeah? Yeah, dude. It just feels kinda weird, is all. I stay silent for a moment, wondering if I'd made the right decision in doing all this. Well, I'm just trying to help you out, you know? I know, bro. It's cool. Seriously, I've been thinking. Oh no. When Jay starts thinking, things go bad. That is my experience so far with this game. Your main problem is worrying about going out in public, like a social anxiety. Whoa, now you're sounding like Jenna. We get to my car and he smiles at me over the roof while I unlock the doors. I feel like if we can break through that, it'll help you out a bunch. I break eye contact as we both slide into our respective seats. And I think this job will be a huge part of that, so I really want you to get it. As I lean to the side to pull out my seatbelt, I feel something soft and warm pressed to my cheek. It only lasts for a second, then it's gone. I look over at Carl, but he's looking out the window. Did you just kiss me? Yeah, bro. Are you high? No, I mean, maybe. He giggles. So yes. Slowly, I pull out of the parking space. If he hadn't made a move on me last night, I might have been a little more shocked. Where the hell did you get high anyway? Alley behind the mall? Charming. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got a few needles stuck in my hooves. We drive in silence for a while, Carl looking out at the desert scenery while I squint out the windshield, trying to see through the hazy orange sunset. I didn't mean that, by the way. What? Just thanks. Sure. I don't know what else to say, so I leave it at that, and we drive along in pleasant silence. Carl still seems a little sad, and I can't pinpoint why. I'm hoping that it's just a phase. That by the time this interview is over, he'll be able to get past his anxiety and finally be done feeling like a failure at everything. Yeah, I hope so too, but, like, anxiety kind of rarely goes away. I wake up to the feeling of a familiar, numbing heaviness in my body. I try to move, tugging at what feels like a massive weight on my arms and legs, but all I can manage is to wiggle my fingers. It feels like someone's pressing down on my chest, trying to suffocate me. And something's in the room with me. I can't help myself, I open my eyes. A blood-red glow fills Carl's room, as if from a nightlight covered in blood. The sight would have made me whimper if I was able to make any kind of sound. My eyes flicker around the room. It looks strangely empty, a lot more empty than I remember it, as if Carl is in the middle of a move and he'd packed up all of his toys and decorations. In fact, the only thing I recognize in his room is his bed, the blankets tossed back and empty. I'm alone. Okay! I'm sorry. That is not a chuckle! That That is an evil laugh. That's a cackle. I hear a chuckle right next to my ear, and it's straight out of a horror movie. Whatever it is, it's right out of my line of sight, and I can't turn my head to see what it is. My heartbeat picks up, and I decide to close my eyes, knowing that nothing good will come out of opening them. It breathes heavily in my ear for a while, then stops. The weight lifts off of my body, and I feel its presence leave. Okay. I sit up, open my eyes again, and sigh with relief. I'm hoping that all of these things will be explained in some way, or maybe not, like, explained directly, but, like, given some sort of clue as to why it's happening. Although I have seen in, like, spoiler-free reviews of this game that people seem to think Carl's route is very confusing and a lot messier than the rest of the routes, so, maybe not. Maybe some of it's revealed in, like, Arches or Route 65. Probably not the smoke room, since that's non-canon now. I sit up, open my eyes again, and sigh with relief. But then I realize the room is still empty, and so is Carl's bed. Yay! What the die! Something yaks me out of bed, and suddenly I'm being pulled by both feet down the hallway. Down the stairs, down the basement, towards the crawlspace, into darkness. Furry legs crawl all over my body, and pinpricks pierce ever into my flesh. I'd give anything to be able to scream right now. I gasp and jolt out of the paralysis. Okay, I wait a good 10 seconds before I'm convinced that I'm really out of it. Carl's snoring loudly in his bed, one arm dangling over the side, while his belly rises and falls. Okay. I sit up and rub my face, wondering how the hell I'm gonna get back to sleep after that. Friday. It's already Friday? Wait, actually, was I on Friday in part 4? I think I actually was. It feels weird that I'm this far along already. But there are 3 more days, including Friday. But yeah, that took an hour, so I think it's fine fitting into the previous episode, because it wasn't like 3 hours or anything. So we'll continue this next time, and maybe get it done? I have a feeling probably not, but there is only one more CG in here, so I would assume it's at least going to take me like 3 parts to get through this, but we'll see. By the way, last episode, there was a post-outro gag where I, like, had TJ voiced by, Mitchell from ASAP Science, and I guess Julian voiced by Greg from ASAP Science. That's because I came up with voices for all of the main casts, like, based on YouTubers, that I thought would fit them. My first thought for TJ was actually Stampy Longcat, but I was like, he's British. So I wanted to look for a Canadian voice for him. But I mean, thinking about it, Jacksepticeye is Irish. And actually, Carl might have Irish ancestry. So I guess that fits, but Markiplier is definitely not Hispanic. But that's how I decided. And yeah, you'll have to see who I picked as the other voices for the main cast after the outro, so stick around for that if you want to see some random skits and gags I made with the Echo cast voiced by YouTubers who are not me. Well, actually, I did put Chase as just me because I was like, yeah, I guess that fits. I genuinely just could not think of any other YouTuber besides me who would make for a good voice for TJ. And also, TJ? Chase. And also, I just, like, he's a murderer, so I didn't want to throw anyone under the bus. But yeah, stick around for that if you want this episode. The maximum length for those is only, like, 7 seconds or something. They're like whines, essentially. Because I can't fit more than that after the outro without it stretching past a 20-second end screen, which is not possible on YouTube. So, yeah. See you next time. Bye.
Oh no, this is gonna be really cringy, isn't it?
He's pulling his cock out!